kinds of gadgets this week. So I just got my new Magic Jacks, and I don't know if anyone's ever used a Magic Jack or you know what the Magic Jack is. I've been using these for about 10 years, maybe 12 years when they came out. Fantastic. The little voice over IP telephone jacks that actually work pretty good. They've improved over the years, but it's a regular telephone service, and it's cheap. It's like $60 for the year. I mean, literally, that's what it is. You buy the Magic Jack, and you get the phone service for a year. So I just needed to get some to add some phone lines to the office for outgoing phone calls. So that's what I did there. So let me get my phone so I can get some questions here. I save the questions. I take screenshots of the questions. So that way when people have a question, I can answer it, you know. Yes, it does. It didn't at the beginning. Great question. So Magic Jack did not work for faxes at the very beginning. It sucked. They've improved it now. I have one here at the house. That's what I use for my house, for my fax machine at the house. Because it's cheap. It's a cheap extra phone line for the fax machine out and in. But yes, it didn't work for the fax before, but yeah, they've improved the quality of it, and it works perfect now for a fax. Let's see, do you know how to get gifts off here if people send you gifts? You know, I don't. In fact, I do have a bunch of gifts in my account from over the last year or so. I got gifts and money, and I haven't even tried to get it out. I just leave it build. I let it build up. But yeah, so the Magic Jack is pretty cool. I'll show you what it looks like. It's funny. It's voice over IP. So I use all the crazy stuff. So I use Vonage. Well, I'm going to tell you about this Magic Jack thing. So here's all right, so this is what Magic Jack looks like, okay? Look, I don't work for the company. In fact, they got some flaws too, but this is what the Magic Jack looks like, okay? It's a device. So here's what happens. You plug your internet cable there, your Ethernet cable in there, and your phone jack there. You plug a regular telephone into it, okay? And then it plugs into a USB power supply like a phone charger. And it gets a regular phone number. So what I did was, I signed up for one to use with my new podcast. So I got a phone number. I got a really cool phone number. Of course, I can't remember what it is. I figured I would get an easy phone number for people to remember if they want to call me. 401-488-5555. That's a pretty good number. So anyway, I've been using Magic forever. We use them in the office for making outgoing phone calls. For the incoming phone calls, I use Vonage. So if everybody's familiar with Vonage, I use Vonage for incoming calls. I do believe in voice over IP. In the old days, when you only had Verizon or AT&T, they nickel and dimed you to death. It was phone service for business was so expensive, $300, $400, $500 a month just for phone service for business. You know, now it's completely different with all these different options. You know, but here's what's cool about. I will tell you where the building inspector's hatred came from in a minute. I'm glad you asked that question. What's cool about the Magic Jack is they just came out with. Google it, magicjackwireless.com. It's cell phone service. So it's real cell phone service. It's it's actually, you can get it even cheaper, $25 a month, $15 a month. They have some really cool plans. So I like to try different things. You know, I'm not a sponsor of any of these things, but I'll buy it. I'll spend the $30 and try it. So they actually have a cell phone plan for $30 a month, unlimited talks and tech. Flat rate, $30, that's it. No contract. You turn it on and off as you need it. And that's Magic Jack. So I signed up for one last month, and I've been practicing with it, using it, trying it out. Because every once in a while, we need like a phone to give to one of the employees to go out and do something. So for $30 a month, it's worth it. So that's Magic Jack Wireless. They just started it, I guess maybe a few months ago. Because when I signed up, I noticed my customer number was 487. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm 487, right? So that's the story. That's the Magic Jack. So listen, it may not work for everybody, but for me, listen, we use my wife and I use our cell phones for our home phone. I do have a Magic Jack here set up at the house, like I said, for faxing in and out, because it's worth it for $60 a year, $5 a month. I also use Magic Jacks for the ice cream shops, because at each ice cream shop. Why? I'm closed in the winter. I'm not going to pay $30, $40, $50 a month for a phone at the shops. So I paid a flat $60 a month for $60 a year for Magic Jack. What happens is, the way my ice cream business works is I have my main corporate number that rings at my office, okay? I have one number. When you call the one number, it answers, of course it's my wonderful voice, and it says, "Thank you for calling Dear Hearts for store number one, hit number one, store number two, hit two, store number three, three, store number four, four." And what it does is it forwards you to the appropriate store. So it rings on the Magic Jack at the store, and the people at the store can answer the phone. So that's how the Magic Jack works. But again, in a seasonal business, you got to keep your costs down. So that's one of the ways. And I've never even done a TikTok on this. That's the first time I even mentioned it because they happen to be sitting in front of me. I said, let me talk about it. But it's Magic Jack is really, it's for people like, look, most of us probably don't even have landlines anymore, right? So it's perfect to have an extra phone at the house or a second phone at the house, Magic Jack. And then, of course, now they get the cellular service, Magic Jack Cellular. I mean, for $30 a month, unlimited talk and text, that's cheap. You know what I'm saying? That's unbelievable. Anyway, so yeah, you're right. So I have this Best Hunter saying I need to order an iPhone mic. So I own an audiovisual company, right? So, I mean, this right here, this is my portable. I call it my portable TikTok kit. Okay, I got my little portable selfie light that I keep in it, right? And I do. This is my clip-on microphone. You'll see I wear this every once in a while. So this is my kit. I keep it in my briefcase. I carry it all day long everywhere I go, just in case a TikTok comes upon me. So I do have that with the clip-on microphone. When I'm here at the office, I like using this microphone because I think it sounds better. Plus, it doesn't pick up all the rest of the noise going on in the house. If there is noise in the house, the dogs stop barking, the kids stop barking, my wife stops barking, whatever. So this way, this microphone, just keeps the sound for me. But anyway, so I do have that. Let's see. But so you'll see once in a while I wear that mic when I'm out, when I'm home, I use this one. But because I want the audio to be good. I want people to hear me and the audio to be good, But anyway, let's see. So I was talking about the Magic Jack. Who uses fax now? Well, it's funny. Who does use fax now? But you know what's funny? There are certain people that still use faxes. Once in a while, my lawyer will send me a fax. I go in the office every once in a while. There's a fax, but you're right. It's less and less and less for faxing. So what I do is for that, I have my fax machine actually on my computer. I have it go to my computer. I have a modem on my computer, and the computer answers the faxes. But what's cool about them is it turns it into email and emails me the fax. So even though you're right, who uses faxes now? But believe it or not, in business, I still get faxes. I had to send a fax the other day, and I used my fax machine at the house. So, of course, 10 years ago, it was all faxes. Now it's all email, scan, email, PDFs. But you're right. There's still old-fashioned people that use faxes. It took my father 12 years to learn how to use a fax. He just learned how to use a fax a couple weeks ago. All right, so that's, now he has to learn how to use email. The biggest expense for my audiovisual company is probably the equipment. Traveling is traveling. But for instance, right now, we're actually looking into buying. So in New England, where I'm located, there is no companies that own jumbotrons. The portable giant screens you see at big fairs and festivals and rallies, jumbotron TVs on a trailer. Nobody owns any. So right now I'm looking to buy two of them because when we use them, hey, Sacramento, how you doing? When we use them, we have to rent them out of Pennsylvania or down south, or I think in Washington D.C. there's a couple. So I'm thinking that it's going to be a good investment in New England for me to own a couple of those. So because the audiovisual business has now come back, it's really busy. That is an investment. So we started looking last week, actually pricing them out, and that's so yeah. The equipment in the audiovisual business is the biggest expense. The only good news about that is that once you buy it, you own it, you depreciate it, you can use it for a few years and use the equipment. But that would be the biggest expense. Of course, labor is also the next biggest expense. Labor is a big expense in the audiovisual business. But yeah, businesses do use faxes a lot, But yeah, so I would say, let's see, what's the largest show you have? How many attendees? So the largest show we've done is probably about 5,000 attendees at the McCormick Place in Chicago. We've also done a big conference in San Diego with the San Diego Convention Center, 3,500 attendees. What's the other one there in Washington D.C. in Maryland there, Harbor. National Harbor. So National Harbor has a huge convention center there, and we've done conferences with 35 attendees, 3,000 attendees. So, those are on the bigger side. Some of the, the average conference, I would say, is probably 700 to 1,000 attendees. That's your average conference. That's our bread and butter. That's most of what we do. But of course, the larger the conference, okay, the bigger the paycheck, but the bigger the stress. So, what I've always said, my philosophy is I always want to treat the audiovisual company like ice cream cones. I'd rather have 1 million customers giving me $1 than one customer giving me $1 million, okay? Because now you lose a couple of customers, it doesn't really matter. In the audiovisual business, I've always felt the same way. I really would rather have a lot of, medium-sized customers. But we have had a lot of good, we've had a lot of, big clients, big customers, big shows. I know, I happen to notice on the calendar. So again, I don't keep track of everything that's going on because all the businesses, I keep track of paying the bills and the money coming in. But the guys just came back from Washington, D.C. on Friday night, and they're here this week. But I noticed that we have 3 big shows. Now, the reason why I noticed it because in 2 weeks there's the Special Olympics in Rhode Island. As you know, I do all their events. They're having an event at Coventry High School. So I was scheduling the guys to go there, set up the staging, the sound, the lighting. It's a big event, projection. Well, all of the show managers are going to be out of town that week. So guess who's probably going to end up doing that show? I usually go anyway because it's Special Olympics, but that show requires a show manager, some technicians, because it's camera operators and setup crew. So I will go there and I will coordinate that show and be the show manager on that show in a couple weeks, 29th actually. But it's interesting because I noticed, the only reason I noticed it is on the calendar, which I'm looking right now at my calendar. The guys are all, let's see where they're going to be. So, yeah. Oh, Calalea in Orlando. Calalea is one of our clients. They're having a show in Orlando. Calalea that's a great organization. Now, we've worked for them probably 8 or 9 years now. They are the accreditation agency for police departments, state police, sheriff departments, police departments. They're the accreditors. So how colleges have accrediting agencies. That's what Cali is. So they have 3 or 4 conferences a year, and we have done all their conferences up till COVID. During COVID, they went virtual, and now they're back doing live. So I'm looking at my calendar to see Calalea. So I recognize the name, obviously. And then we have something going on in Little Rock, Arkansas. We don't do much in Little Rock, Arkansas, but we have a conference there in a couple weeks. That's pretty cool. Let's see what else we got. In Chicago. Oh, by the way, I did a live last week. So I was talking about Chicago being a union town, and we always use the union when we go to Chicago. There's one hotel on the Magnificent Mile that's non-union. And somebody kept asking, what's the name of the hotel? I couldn't think of it. It's the Intercontinental Hotel. We've been there a bunch of times. But again, we do so much. There's so much events going on. Now, I will tell you, I will probably go to Orlando for the Calalea show in Orlando. I think I mentioned this to everyone before. I have not met all of our clients for the audiovisual. I just possibly can't in 1 year meet all the clients. So what I did was, starting this last year, I've actually been going on the shows, flying to the shows, and meeting the clients. Prior to this year, if everybody remembers, I never, ever told anybody I own the company. I used to go on shows. I'd be a technician, undercover boss. My staff, our freelancers, all signed agreements that would never tell the clients or the customers that I am the owner of the company if I show up on a show. Now that we're back now, we're running it a little differently. I do go to the shows now. I do stop in, introduce myself as the owner, thank them for their business, and so it's a little different now with the audiovisual business. So yes, the equipment is tax deductible, and I can depreciate the equipment. In fact, I mean, my Tesla, when I bought the Tesla, that was purchased for business. And same thing there, that was tax deductible. I got a $25,000 tax credit right away on it. It was $100,000, got $25,000 right off the top. And the rest of it every year is tax deductible because it is a business expense. Which of my businesses are most profitable? When the audiovisual business is running 100%, which it's like 80% right now, just because still things are still ramping up. That is the most profitable because we own the equipment. So, the shows, you just pay the labor and expenses, and then the rest is profit. That's why my salespeople make so much, the sales staff makes so much profit themselves. My sale, when we're going full strong, all the sales guys make, six figures every year when we're ramped up, because there's a lot of profit in it. A lot of stress, it goes with a lot of profit. During COVID, obviously, while that was in hiatus, my real estate made a lot of profit, and my real estate does still make a lot of profit, but I invest that back into the real estate, so I don't realize the profit because I put it back right into the real estate. But the audiovisual business, is more profitable as far as return on investment. That would be the most profitable. How can a business build credit? So, it's very difficult for a business to build credit. I mean, I'm still building credit as a business. My real estate business, so it all depends on the business. The real estate business builds credit. Why? Because it owns real estate as equity in real estate, so it can borrow against it. Okay. The audiovisual business builds credit based on its time in business, the yearly sales, tax returns showing profitability, and my personal credit. When you're self-employed, and I talked about this last week, I want to remind everybody about this. When you're self-employed, I know it sounds great. Oh, I'm self-employed. I'm an entrepreneur. Absolutely not. One of the reasons why I ain't ever tell anybody I own the business is because when you tell a bank or a credit card company you're self-employed, you're screwed. You are screwed. They won't give you credit. When you're self-employed, they consider you a bum. You might as well just be a bum on the side of the road. They don't trust you. They don't have any belief in you. So what I do is I do pay myself a paycheck. And when I apply for a loan, I'm an employee. What do? I'm a business manager. I'm an employee because I get a paycheck. Then I'm treated fairly. When I apply for a credit card, same thing. I'm an employee. As soon as you say you're self-employed, they completely put you into a different criteria and high risk. Doesn't matter at that point what your credit score is. You are high risk. So that's why I say I work, I get a paycheck. So let's see, Wannabe, what's the question about the trucks, Wannabe? Let's see. Mobile storage containers added to the dumpster is the same truck. Nah. So I wish I wanted to do that. So here's the story on that. The storage containers, the mobile storage containers, they are moved on a different railing system than the dumpsters. The dumpsters have a winch that pull them up, and there's a rail that they slide up on, because you know why? What you're suggesting is something I wanted to do, and I got found out quickly you couldn't. You'd have to have all the containers specially made, which would probably be cost prohibitive to be able to use the same trucks. The mobile storage containers pretty much go on like a flatbed truck. The dumpsters, like I said, they have a railing system. Well, how can I explain it? Almost like a track that they go on. So it's a different system. But believe me, I wish, because then I would have done that. I would have been glad. I would have done storage containers as well. Do I have to pay more income taxes? So here's the story on that. So when you're self-employed, yes and no. So when you have an LLC, so all my businesses are in LLCs, except for Butler Waste. Butler Waste is a subchapter S corporation. The LLCs, yes, I don't need to pay myself a paycheck because it's my own corporation. When I do my taxes, I pay the self-employment tax, at tax time. My accountant does that. And by the way, this is all stuff I recently learned. I've talked about this. That's an area that I know nothing about, don't want to know. I pay the professionals to do that. And I got to tell you something. I have great professionals doing it now. I got my CPA who files my taxes, who's done a great job for me ever since I got audited for 2017, 2018. He's been doing a great job for me. And in-house, I have a full-time CPA controller that manages all my books in-house in the business, in the office now, which I never had before. So between the two of them, now I'm learning, and it's great. They pay for themselves. Trust me, they pay for themselves. So what happens is that Butler Waste, because it's a subchapter S corporation, I can then give myself a paycheck and I'm not double paying taxes. But if I didn't have Butler Waste, yes, I couldn't give myself a paycheck. I would just have to declare what I make yearly from the other businesses that are the ice cream shops are LLCs, all my real estate are in LLCs, and the and audiovisual services is an LLC. So they're all LLCs. So that's how I end up paying, that's how I do the taxes. But I talked about that, so, when I was started so audiovisual, the audiovisual business was always easy to do the taxes. Very, very simple business to do the taxes on. Didn't matter how much money it made. It's very simple. People pay with a credit card or check. The money comes in. I show the expenses, do my taxes. So up until 2017, I did all my own taxes because I do it, personal tax and business, because that's what it was. The real estate being in LLCs, same thing. It was just rental income, so I was able to do my own taxes. But then when I started doing the flip houses, that's when it got ugly. I didn't know how to put those into, I used to use TurboTax for business. I didn't know how to do that at all. Rollaway is an LLC. Yep, Rollaway is an LLC. And, of course, I bought Rollaway, when they retired. It's an LLC. I got to tell you something. When I bought Rollaway a few months ago, it was an auction that they had. And I bought Rollaway. I was speculating. I was thinking, okay, because at that time I was thinking, do I want to sell Butler Waste? Not that the audiovisual is back, the real estate's growing. Do I really want another business? Maybe I should sell it. Well, what happened was I turned around and I bought Rollaway. And I said, well, even if I buy Rollaway and I still decide to sell it, now I got more to sell, right? So I bought Rollaway, and that business has absolutely boomed. It's taken off. Butler Waste is taken off. Rollaway is taken off because I'm keeping them as two separate businesses. And it's out of control right now. In fact, I need to buy more trucks. It's just out of control. So right now it's running stress-free. It was very stressful up until a few months ago, but the business is running stress-free. So that's the story with that. So regarding the $12,000, I got half of it. So for some reason, they only sent me half, so we're fighting over the other half. So I'm working on getting the other half of the 12 from Rent Relief. But I got to tell you, I talked about this last week. Rent Relief is getting so much better at what they do. But I got to tell you something. We have so many tenants applying for Rent Relief right now. I never expected, when they started Rent Relief, I thought, okay, I'm going to have 5 or 6, the 5 or 6 original tenants. Okay, I'll get paid, and that's it. Since then, 40, 45 tenants have applied for Rent Relief, and it keeps going up. And not only that, not only are they getting paid, when the money runs out, they're applying again, and they're getting it, The only problem I have with Rent Relief, and it's not Rent Relief's fault. Well, yes, it is in a way, but not really. It's not their fault, in other words, on purpose. What's happening now is that tenants are applying for Rent Relief, even if they don't qualify. It takes 6 to 8 weeks to either get a yes or a no. So if they're late on their rent, they're applying to buy themselves time, knowing that they're going to get denied. The problem with that is when you go to court for the eviction, the judge says, if you applied for rent relief, they say yes. The judge says, okay, Mr. Landlord, Mr. Property Owner, we're going to wait until we get an answer from rent relief. So there's a little flaw in the system. Lucky, we've only had one person where they've gotten denied. Everyone else has gotten approved. We do everything in our power to help them get approved. The tenants have been good about it. At the beginning, it was a learning curve for them, too. They didn't know what it was all about. I had one tenant, 2 tenants, actually, I can think of, that deserved rent relief, who absolutely lost their jobs during COVID, lost their unemployment went down. They deserved it, and they were so proud they did not want to apply for it. I was like, you guys are the ones that it's there for. So that's the story with that. So, the good question about my lawyer's fee. So my lawyer's on retainer. Because I own 4 businesses, he just gets a monthly fee for everything he does for me. So some months he's working for Butler Waste. Some months he's working for Elmwood Realty. When I used to own the nightclub, he used to do all my nightclub stuff. Of course, right now, it's the city of Warwick stuff that he's spending a lot of time on. So it all balances out in the end. I hope. If it doesn't, he would tell me and, of course, raise his fee. But it's been nice because I'll tell you why. Instead of getting an $8,000 bill here, a $2,000 bill there, a $3,000 bill there, I'd much rather have a consistent income. Bill, now I will tell you, he's been my lawyer since 1997. I met him when I opened up my nightclub. He became my lawyer then for the nightclub. And, of course, at that point, that was pretty much the only business I had. My audiovisual business was very small at the time. Very small. It was only two of us. And he handled the, hey, Jethro, how you doing? And he handled my business. So since then, it's grown. But we've been in the same deal ever since, and he's fantastic. He's very, very, he's fantastic, Has Elmwood ever caught up their bill with Butler? So, yeah, not really. So that's funny. You should ask the question. So Elmwood paid the whole roll-off bill, which was $31,000, right? Elmwood still owes like $40,000 that they keep nagging me for. I'll give it to him tomorrow or Tuesday. And, it's funny that, obviously everyone knows, yeah, it goes to Butler, and then it, of course, comes to me. but it's all about the IRS. It's all about the books, keeping the books straight. So yes, I am going to have to write the check or transfer the funds from Elmwood to Butler Waste to pay the bill. The thing is that it's hard for me to be organized like that, because think about it. I mean, you're right. I own 4 businesses, and it kind of sounds stupid. Okay, I'm moving money from this business to that business when it's all mine. But it does make sense in the long run. In fact, what I did do, so one of the other ways I was completely out of control before, right, is credit cards. So, of course, we have a lot of credit cards for the businesses and also some personal credit cards. So I used to just use whatever credit card there was to use for a purchase. Now what we did was we have a Butler Waste credit card that the Butler Waste drivers use to buy gas and parts for repairs of the trucks. I have a Frozen Desserts, that's the name of the LLC that owns Dear Hearts Ice Cream in the Hershey's. So Frozen Desserts has a Frozen Desserts credit card, and that's how we buy all the ice cream, and we buy all the ice soda, water, all the paper goods, the paper cups, the Dells. We use the Frozen Desserts credit card. And then we have an Elmwood Realty credit card for Elmwood Realty, and of course the Home Depot credit cards for Elmwood Realty. So in Audiovisual Services has credit cards, which they've had, because the guys that travel around the country each have their own card, check in hotels, buy gas, expenses, rent the trucks, rent the cars. So each company has its own credit card and pays its expenses out of the credit card, and then of course the company pays the bill. I never did that before. I was a complete slob when it came to my expenses. So here's the story of that. It was legal what I was doing, but it cost me more in the long run because I had to pay accountants to decipher everything. Where did he move this money from? Where did he move that money from? So it was a big mess. So I do suggest to people, again, learn from me, be organized at the beginning and stay organized, and then it won't cost you in the end. See, it cost me because in 2008, I got audited for 2017. I had to pay a lot of money. Not because I hid the money, not because I was refusing to pay. It was because I was a mess. I was completely unorganized because 2018 they audited me, and guess what? The IRS owes me money. Who figured, right? Because what happened was I got my accountant in 2018. So going back, because when they audit you, here it is 4 years later or 5 years later, 2017, they don't come the next year and audit you. So now I got to go back and try to find the records from that year. So I paid the price in 2017. Shame on me. Hired my CPA. He took care of my taxes 2018, 2019, 20, 21. And again, like I said, 2018 is in my favor. So you know what? That's why shame on me. I learned my lesson. You know what I'm saying? It's just a year of college. I consider paying that a year of college, Yes, my employees stopped using the girls' toilet. We'll find out tomorrow, won't we? But that is a true story. So, what happened was, here's what I didn't tell you. In my office, I have my own bathroom. Okay? Now, I'm not in the office that often anymore. But every time I go in there, somebody uses my bathroom. So tomorrow I'm putting a lock on it. I know who's using it. I know it's Andrew. He goes in there and uses it. His office is right next to mine. I'm not there. Who cares? So, but anyway, so funny about what you said about my kids must feel lucky. So my kids are, well, of course, Emily turned 13 this week and Benjamin's 15. So think about it. What do 13-year-olds and 15-year-olds think of their father? They're embarrassed of me. When I wake up in the morning, they're embarrassed of me. Yesterday we were walking around the outlets at the casino, right? And there was a good song playing. American Girl by Tom Petty. So I was singing along to it. And he walks away from me because he's embarrassed because I'm singing, right? So it's just funny because my kids are embarrassed. But no, obviously they're I'm hoping that they're learning from me. They do get embarrassed of me. But it's funny. My daughter's embarrassed of my wife. Benjamin's embarrassed of me. It's just they're kids. That's what they do, right? But no, they're great kids. And of course, Benjamin's working at the ice cream shop. He worked the other night, opening night. I told everybody he made $48 in tips. He worked 4 hours. He worked 4 to 8 while I was there. And so he made $12 an hour in tips on top of his pay, which is $12.25 in Rhode Island. So not bad for a 15-year-old kid, you know what I'm saying? And I'm glad because it's making him like to work. You know what I'm saying? He's making him really hungry and like to work. Somebody asked me on TikTok yesterday, do we let him keep the money? So he worked for the first time last year. So yes, he kept all his money last year. And we said, you know what, though, Benjamin, save it for the winter, because in the winter you're going to need money for spending, going out with your friends. And of course, getting older, he is going out with his friends a lot. They go out to dinner. It's really kind of cool. Of course, we're the taxi service, we're the Uber. And but I'll tell you something. So he throughout the year, I think he made maybe $2,000 last summer, spent a little bit, and then he started the winter with $1,000. And he had like $600 left the other day when he started working, which is pretty cool. $700 left when he started working the other day. So he is a saver. He's not like me. When I was his age, I was a spender. Every money, even now, I'm a spender. I spend my money. But my kids don't pay me rent now. They don't pay me rent now. So I'll probably do what my parents did. So my parents had a rule: if you went to college, you did not, and you lived at home, you didn't have to pay any board, or rent. The minute you leave college, whether you quit college, whether you finish college, and you get a job or not, you stop paying board. Now, they used to charge $50 a week. Now, I think that's very important. It's not about the $50, because it's teaching them to pay something, whether it's rent or a mortgage. Because the minute they move out somewhere, they're going to be paying somebody something, so why not start then, Yeah, see you. So Jethro, you embarrass your daughter too. See, so believe me, that's just how it is. No matter what you do, you embarrass them, right? And which is kind of funny, Let's see. Yeah, so that's a good point about the kids being grateful when they get older. Believe it or not, okay. Well, it's true. True story. My wife, not that because she's a lawyer, she has her own career. And of course, I run my business. Up until about a year and a half ago, she didn't really know what I owned as far as real estate goes, or even the audiovisual business, what the assets were and stuff like that. Really had not really a clue. She knew I had the ice cream shops, obviously, because she even worked at it when she was in law school, right? And she was in college. So same thing with the kids. The kids see that I own ice cream shops. They work there. They know I own some houses, but we kind of keep it very, very low key. I do it on purpose. I want them to appreciate what they have. I want them to realize what they have. So later, and also, we want them to be able to go to college and or pick their own career. Maybe they won't go to college. Maybe they'll go into a technical trade or something. We want them to pick that. So I don't want to steer them in any direction that whether it's Butler Waste, audiovisual. I don't want to steer them. I want them to make their own choice. So anything that we can do to keep everything low key, look, they know me as the guy that stays at home now during the day and plays on TikTok. That's what they know me as. How do you juggle family with work? So that's a good question. When we started, so I used to travel doing audiovisual. I mean, I used to be on the road day in, day out, week in, week out. When I got married and decided to have kids, I told Carissa and my staff, I'm going to make sure I'm home for the kids. I want to be there for the kids. And I immediately changed the way I work when the kids started being born. In fact, Carissa works, so she's an attorney. So where I am self-employed and own a business, I was able to build a home office, work at home. So when the kids were little, when they were infants, of course, Carissa stayed home for a few months and she went back to work. We got, a nanny to come in for a few hours a day, but the nanny would leave at 2:00 and I would take the kids from 2:00 on. And when Carissa came home from work at 5:30, I would go back and do work again till like 8:30 at night. We did that for 5-6 years, and that's how we did it. But also, I make sure, and I can say this right now in good conscience, I've never missed a special day, a holiday, a dance recital, first communion, anything like that. I remember Benjamin making his first communion, and I was in California doing an event in San Diego, and I took a red eye home, left at 11 o'clock at night, landed in Boston at 7 o'clock in the morning, had somebody pick me up, drove me home, got to the church for 10 o'clock for his first communion. So those are the things. I will not miss an event. At the same time, a lot of our events, especially in Washington, I've mastered it where I can fly down in the morning, go to the event, and come home in the afternoon. I had to go to a client. I had to go to a meeting with a client in Maryland once. I flew into Baltimore, 7 o'clock in the morning, went to the meeting, which was 11 o'clock, finished the meeting around 1 o'clock, got back, took a plane at 3 o'clock from Baltimore, was at the airport here at 4 o'clock, and I was able to pick up the kids at daycare at 5 o'clock on the same day. I've done that actually 2 or 3 times. So those are the things I did to juggle family and work life. The other thing is, everyone that follows me knows I love to take short vacations. I like 3 and 4 day vacations. Any 3-day holiday, we go on a vacation somewhere. During COVID, obviously it didn't happen, but before COVID, every 3-day holiday we went somewhere. Even last October we went to Universal Studios. November we went to Chicago. We're looking to go Martin Luther King weekend. We went to New Orleans a couple of months ago in January. So haven't picked anywhere for Memorial Day yet. We're thinking Montreal. We'll see. And then in the summer, we're going to do our trip to Iceland. I've always wanted to go to Iceland. I booked the trip last year because COVID postponed it, so we're going to do it this year. So that's how I juggle family with work. I like to spend time with the family. Obviously, I enjoy it. But at the same time, I do it at work. I've gotten lucky the last couple of years because I have some great people running the businesses, so it's freed me up a lot too. Plus, they don't want me in the office. They really don't want me in the office. So, even though, because you see, I go to the office, I'm very distracting. I go to the office, we make the funny videos and, and just things happen. It just seems like every time I'm there, something's there that, I distract the staff. There's a lot of people in the office now too. So they don't want me there. They rather me not be there. Andrew rather me. See, my office and Andrew's office are next to each other, so I can hear him in the office, and I'll hear him talking to tenants, or hear him talking to the property managers. So, I can't help myself but get involved with the conversation. So that's why they rather me not be there. And I don't blame them. Same thing with Brian. He doesn't want me there about wasting Nicole because, the trucks pull in, I hear the trucks, and so I get involved with their conversation. So that's why they don't want me in the office. I try not to be in the office. You know what I'm saying? So that's the story with that. So how many hours a week do I work, and how do you manage the time early? So I get up every morning around 5:30, take a shower at 6 o'clock. I'm in my home office from about 6 to 7 every single morning. The real estate, the construction guys start working at 7. So at 7 o'clock, I go off and I go stop and visit at least 1 or 2 of the sites that we're working on, get an update, see what's going on those sites. Then I may go to the office if I have to get some things going at the office. But then I end up coming back to my home office around 9:30, 10 o'clock. I've been doing that every day now for a while. I did it last summer. This winter, I did a lot. I did go back to the office for a while, but now I'm back doing this schedule, and I like it. But as far as my hours go at home, I work till about 7 o'clock at night in my home office. And at 7 o'clock, I'm done. I take a break to have dinner because Carissa makes dinner every night. We'll go out to dinner once in a while. But I do, so it's nice because most of my work is on the phone. I got to show you guys something. Most of my work is on the phone. I think this might still be on the phone because you guys aren't going to believe this. Well, maybe you will. And this is a whole TikTok that I haven't even done. There's so much information I could share. Let me see if I can find this. Recent calls. Let's see. I hope it's still on here. I think it was Thursday. I just want to show you guys something. I think it was... No, it's not on here. It has to be. I might have taken a screenshot. I had to call AT&T about my cell phone service the other day. Now, I called AT&T, and AT&T outsources its customer service to somewhere else. You know what I mean. And there was a communication gap. So after about 5 minutes, I hung up. Well, I called again. Sure enough, I got that other place again. Communication gap. I hung up. So my question to you is this. So anyway, I called a third time. Third time I asked for billing. And I realized that billing happens to be in the United States. So I told billing my problem. So they put me in touch with a supervisor in the business, because I have 31 lines with AT. For my businesses, I have 31 lines. So they put me in touch with a supervisor, this guy, Corey. Absolutely fantastic. After the 3 phone calls to Indonesia, India, wherever it was, I don't know, Dubai, wherever I was talking to, after those, and you know what? I can't blame them. See, here's the problem. I can blame AT&T because AT&T is outsourcing. Why? Why are they outsourcing? I guess to save money, make more profits for their shareholders. Okay, fine. The people on the other end, though, they're hardworking. They're working. Listen, I give them credit. They're going to work every day. It's a training issue. They're reading off of computer screens, and that's part of the problem. For instance, I'll give you an example. One of the reasons I called was somehow one of my lines got disconnected. One of my phones wasn't working on Thursday morning. It was not working. So I called up and I get the customer service person. I said, how you doing? Listen, one of my phones was disconnected. I need it turned back on. Oh, you want to disconnect your service? No, it's not what I said. One of my phone lines was disconnected. Oh, you want to disconnect your service? Hold on, so I can help you. So that's when I hang up. I can't handle. Listen, that's when I start getting chest pains. I have visions of going back to the hospital. So, so that's what happened with that. So I, I hang up and I feel bad because it's not them. It's training. It's communication. It's just unfortunate because, like I said, I'm impressed. They're all working. I have a feeling that if there were people in the United States that wanted to have the job, they'd have it here, right? So instead of the people coming from other countries to work here, be hard workers, right? Instead of lazy Americans, now they're going there. So anyway, so make a long story short, the guy really, really helped me out, Corey. It was a mess. What happened was I got a phone call Monday from AT&T. Hey, Mr. Butler, with the new 5G rollout with AT&T, 11 of your phones are going to stop working because you have old SIM cards. So we're going to send you new SIM cards. So, yeah, they sent me new SIM cards. Well, what they did was, what they didn't tell me is they were going to shut off 11 phones, okay? And I was going to be without service on 11 phones until I put the SIM cards in. So that's what the big mess was. So Corey helped me out. We got everything turned back on again. He was wonderful. My iPad stopped working. I got my iPads on. Anyway, 3.5 hours I was on with Corey. 3.5 hours I was on the phone with him. That's what I was going to show you the time on my phone. I couldn't believe it when I got off the phone. 3.5 hours. I literally got on the phone with him, 9:30, and got off at like 1 o'clock. It was unbelievable. So anyway, that's my AT&T tale of woe from Thursday. So I was talking to Brian, yesterday about phone service. He's like, I can't stand Verizon, blah, blah. I said, Brian, they're all the same, okay? They are all the same. And they really are. I mean, it is what it is. But now I think they've gotten a little worse with COVID because they are all short-staffed, right? So the phone calls take longer. You're not getting the best quality people, maybe on the end, or trained people on the other end. It's all about training. So that's the story with that. So, Mary Robin, what are you talking? You've had great luck with what social media? What waste management companies I recently purchased? So I purchased a company called Rollaway Disposal. So they were in Rhode Island in business for 40 years. They're one of the biggest companies in Rhode Island for 40 years. The owners decided to retire, so I bought out that company back in January, Rollaway Disposal, and I'm keeping the name. We're keeping a great reputation, a great company. So if it's not broke, why fix it, right? Listen, Butler, the only reason we picked Butler for Butler Waste is because you're a butler, you're serving people. That was it. It was all about the joke of serving people, right? But no, Rollaway Disposal is a great name. They have a great reputation. They were successful over the years. And so I'm keeping both names, Butler Waste and Rollaway. And that's sort of that. So, hey, Rachel, thank you very much. You love my videos. I remind you of your dad. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. So, what's interesting? Talking about, like you're saying about your parents, this Novus, the money. So, hey, Butler, how are you? How are those kids doing at the ice cream shop? The kids are doing great at the ice cream shop. My Judge Judy. So I love Judge Judy, okay? Talk about Judge Judy, right? Now, there's somebody who's worth, millions, right? 100 million maybe? So she was being interviewed by the late Norm Macdonald on Norm Macdonald's talk show on Netflix. And Norm said to her, you're rich, you have all this money, you're going to leave it all to your kids. So she said, well, a couple things, and I didn't realize this. She was a civil servant. She worked for New York. She was a judge till she retired. In her early 60s, she retired. And, of course, then they gave her the show. That's when she made all her millions, is when she was like 62, when she retired and got the job. So what she said is no. She goes, I'm not giving it to him when I die. I'm giving it to him now. I share my money with my kids now. My kids, my grandchildren. I want to enjoy it with them. So she's not, which I thought is pretty cool. She's not leaving it or waiting till she dies to leave it to him. She's sharing it with him now. So yeah, there will be a time at some point when, of course, my goal is when my kids go to college, I'll really slow down a lot. Or when I slow down with business, business will still grow. I'll still, pay my staff to grow the businesses, but I won't do as much as I'm doing. I want to start doing some more traveling with my wife. So that's what we'll do when they're in college. When they get out of college, and then at that point, obviously, when they want to buy a house and this and that, we can look at what we have, and help them out that way, Hey, Butler, how are you? How are the kids doing? I already answered that one. So, yeah. So, the kids are doing good at the ice cream shop. The ice cream shops are doing well. So, I always said how it's weather related, right? So, Friday was 70 degrees. It was a beautiful day. The stores did gangbusters. Yesterday was raining. They did, Today, it's a little cooler, but it's sunny out, and they're doing really good today. They're doing as good as they did Friday. So, now that they're open, they're going to, now, that's the other thing, too. I talked about this the other day. People think, okay, you own a seasonal business, you open, that's it, go ahead. Maybe you're at the beach, right? You have a captive audience. That's true. But for me, I believe in advertising every year when I open marketing. I do Facebook, TikTok. I use Square. I actually do some stuff on Square on my website. I do coupons. In fact, tonight, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some coupons on my website. So in case anybody wants a coupon, go on my website. So I always tell the story how I'm the Bed Bath & Beyond of ice cream because we accept old coupons, expired coupons. We don't care what they are, competitors' coupons. What do I care? I'm happy to get the customers. Every year, the businesses do a little bit better every year. So I think whatever we're doing right. Whatever we're doing right for the business to grow a little bit more every year. So that's what we do. Let's see. I'm just looking right now. Any questions? Oh, social. You contact them through social media. Yeah, it's interesting about that. I know sometimes you can contact the companies through social media and, magicjack. So, magicjack, they don't have live people. Everything's through email and forms and stuff. And I was a little leery about that at the beginning, but I got to tell you, they do get back to you within 24 hours. You email me, they do get back to you. You know what I mean? It's not the answer you want to hear, but they get back to you, So that's the story with that. 490 million. Look at that, huh, Melissa? 490 million. Judge Judy. Huh. Look at that's unbelievable, isn't that? That is really, really. That's really, really cool. 490 million. Yeah, but I love her. I love her. Her no nonsense attitude. She says how it is. I love it when she has people in front of her that are a divorced or a broken up couple, and she'll say, "Hey, you hitched your wagon to him. You hitched your wagon to her. You guys played house," and she's right. But then of course now they break up and they're suing each other. Your grandfather would take all the grandkids to the ice cream shop. I still go there when I'm in the. Oh, that's cool. That's very nice. That's really, really nice. See, that's what I mean. That's so. If you notice, Ma and Pa ice cream shops are going by the wayside because they are very hard to make money with, okay? Because of the increased expenses, the taxes, the food costs, the labor costs. They're seasonal. So, I keep them going because I'm lucky. All right, so for instance, my district manager, Tim, well, he's not paid from the ice cream business. He's paid out of Elmwood Realty because he's one of my property managers, and I have him district manage the ice cream shops. If I didn't have Elmwood Realty, he'd be paying out of the ice cream shops. So there's more cost to the ice cream shops. So a lot of these mom and pop ice cream shops are going away because you can't afford to be around. They can't afford. But you know what, though? It's old fashioned. We love it. I love it. They still make money. I wouldn't be doing it if I was losing money, obviously. But again, I always say this, you would never be able to raise a family on them. But I'm lucky because I have 3. I'm going to have 4 in a couple weeks. The other one's opening. So, and of course, we're managing them all out of one location. So that makes it more efficient. That makes it a lot more efficient. Yeah, if you had 490 million, me too. Me too. If I had 490 million, boy, I'll tell you, that's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. $490 million. But, like I said, so the, that's very interesting. But yeah, so that's why I do believe in what she said about sharing the money before she dies. And, I would probably do the same thing with my kids at some point, See, keep in mind, though, all my money's tied up in real estate. I reinvest everything back into the real estate. I don't have, I'm not on any yacht, not out, we did put our pool in a couple of years ago. We have, so we made our house perfect. We were talking about this the other day. I know people that, as they made money, they keep moving to bigger and bigger and bigger houses and better houses and bigger this and more of that and that. We've never done that. As we've, made a little bit extra money, we've added. We put a big addition on the house, 5 years ago. And then, of course, we put the in-ground pool in, put the hot tub in, built the outdoor the outdoor room cabana. So we've done that, the sunroom. So we've, little things that we've made it our own. You know what I'm saying? So to go do that again all over again somewhere, I don't even know if I feel like it. But this house is perfect. I mean, there's only 4 of us. So that's the thing. There's only 4 of us. It's still a huge house of 4 people. So it's more to take care of. So the tenant that's moving into the next to East Greenwich is a beauty salon, a hair salon, is moving in to the space next to the East Greenwich. It's a hair salon. I'm drinking my zero Dr. Pepper, zero sugar Dr. Pepper, in case anyone wants to know. Those huge drinks at Foxwoods yesterday that the girls were drinking. So 2 girls shared 1 drink because they were huge. They were strawberry lemonade. I guess according to them, they were really, really sweet, which I don't like anything really sweet. But let's see. So that's the story with that. It's funny. I wasn't going to do a live today, but I was like, you know what? I had a bunch of questions I wanted to answer. Oh, yeah, let me go back to those. I got sidetracked. Yeah, it's a little bit different than normal Dr. Pepper. It's not as fizzy. I really like Dr. Pepper. So it's a little bit, it's close, but not really. No, it's not as fizzy. I like really fizzy soda, Ginger ale is I like ginger ale. Let's see. So everything I drink is zero. I might as well drink water, right? Because everything I'm drinking is zero. I drink zero Gatorade, zero Powerade, zero Dr. Pepper. All right, let me look at my questions here.
Someone recently told me that my TikTok.
Everyone's been watching the series on Warwick. That's coming to a head this week. I got a couple more I'm going to be posting, but yeah, it's coming to a head this week. It's going to be very interesting what happens with that. So I'll be doing some TikToks on that. I'm looking at my... Everyone enjoyed the video because of the bathrooms with Brian. But like I said, that was a true story. When we first moved into our building, we only had 1 woman that worked for us, Heather, and now we have 7. So I'm by myself right now. Who's with me? I'm by myself. Yeah, listen, asked by Dami Long. Well, Dami Long Don, I've been waiting for you to come get some ice cream, So, yeah, come on down to get some ice cream, 4 liters of diabetic. So, what's interesting? It's not easy to lose weight when you're diabetic. When I was diagnosed with diabetes about 8 years ago, I weighed 235 pounds. Now I weigh 180. I actually went down to about 190. When I went on the Trulicity, actually, I lost 10 more pounds. And in fact, Chris is funny. She always say, "Oh, you're losing weight." But I kind of like losing weight. In fact, I was a 38 waist and a 36 waist and a 34. Now I actually can fit in the 32s. They're a little snug. 34s was comfortable for me. I bought some pants yesterday at the Under Armour outlet. They were 34s, and they're comfortable. The 36s and 38s, forget it. The 36s, I have to put my belt extra, and it's uncomfortable. So I try to drink a lot of water every day. I try, but towards the end of the day, it gets a little boring. I guess I have type 2 diabetes. I have type 2. You don't have to be jealous about my diabetes. That's nothing to be jealous about. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I have type 2 diabetes. I did get lucky. It started to get my A1C kept going up. They talk about the A1C, right? So my A1C kept going up. 8, then 8.5, then 9, 9.5, went up to 12.2. So the last time I went to the doctor, he said, look, in 90 days when you come back, because I go every 90 days, when you come back, we're going to put you on insulin. So they did. I bought the insulin. They got it, at CVS. I went there because they had set an appointment to teach me how to use it, and I really didn't want to do it, by the way. I fought it he was asking me a year to go on it. Well, what happened was my A1C went down. And they didn't put me on the insulin because my A1C went down. So even though I got it, they were going to teach me how to use it. So they just increased my Trulicity now. So as long as I can keep my A1C going down, And of course, in the summer it's easier because you get more. I'm more active in the summer. Right? I'm moving around, but I think that's why it went down. I was doing a lot of office hours, a lot of sitting, a lot of sedentary stuff. Then all of a sudden, the last few months, with everything going on, by the way, the new building, the new property, audiovisual services coming back, I'm moving around a lot more, and I think that little bit of extra exercise, it helped. So that's what happened there. So I didn't have to do the diabetes. I didn't have to do the insulin, and I really don't want to if I don't have to. Oh, so you know what's funny? This little podcast thing I got, right? I told you I can hook up the cell phone plugs right into it so people can call me up and I can actually interview people, and talk to them just like, on the radio or whatever. So it's funny because it has these built-in sound effects. Listen. Oh, I don't know if you can hear it or not. Oh, maybe not. I lied. Can you hear that? The audience? I don't know. That's funny. Let's see. Oh, yeah, see? That's applause. It's built in. It's applause. That's funny, right? And I got this one, too, and you tell a joke, why is the chicken cross the road? So it's funny. It has those built-in things, I know it's kind of a funny thing. But so the reason I bought this is it's battery operated. So this way when I travel or if I'm moving around or, I like to sit outside and do things outside. I can do my lives outside now and use this thing here, so it's kind of cool, Melissa, I return your emails. That's good. Usually people complain I don't return their emails, so that's good. How much did you make on the first day of opening Dear Hearts? So, the three stores all combined on Friday, I think did like $2,900, all three stores, which is for 5 hours was pretty damn good in the middle of March. That was a record. But of course, it was also 70 degrees. It's all weather related, So that's why. So that's the gross sales. Of course, I don't know how much. So the ice cream shops are interesting because I really don't know the sheer profit until the end of the year. Because when you open up, it's expensive. You have to buy all the ice cream for all the stores. You have to buy all the supplies for all the stores. You have to turn on all the freezers, turn everything on. You have to make the banks because all the stores need banks. So you don't really know what the profit is until, at the end. But, people ask me, the profit can be anywhere between 25 and 30% at the end of the year of the gross sales. And, it's a great family business. I tell everybody this: if I want a business, so for instance, I had a bit. So the one that I'm taking over to run the Hershey's, the people that owned that the last time, they specifically bought it so their kids would have a place to work, like I have in the summers. So their kids grew up and went on to college. Now they've lost interest in the ice cream, so that's why they ended up closing, and they're actually moving closer to home. They live up in Massachusetts. So my friend who's a Chinese real estate agent who owned a Chinese restaurant, she did the same thing. She opened up a Chinese restaurant. It was a place for her three kids to work while they were in college, right? Once they all three got out of college, she sold the business. So, when my kids are out of college, I may do the same thing. Even though I've had it for 20 years, I may, unless one of them wants to keep it and say, I want it as a part-time, some seasonal thing to run, then obviously that will be their choice. But it's a great business. So what I've been doing is this. I sold the one up in Smithfield 10 years ago. I still own the building, but and that's what they did. It was, again, that's the perfect people that want it. Is a young family that wants a place where their kids can work, make some money, learn how to work, learn how to run a business. It's a great, great opportunity. So what I did was the one in Elmwood Avenue in Warwick. I built the store, put it together, got it ready, and I sold the store for exactly what it cost me to build it. It cost me $28,000 to build the store, the equipment, licensing, getting it ready, everything, painting, signage, $28,000. So I sold it for that, just so I would get my money back. And now they had an up and operational business. So that's what I did with that business. And that's what I plan on doing with the Hershey business. I'll tell everybody that right now. I'm in the real estate business to rent property. McDonald's, if you ever watched the McDonald's documentary on McDonald's, they're not in the food business. They were in the real estate business. What did they do? They used the food to buy real estate and become one of the biggest, landowners in the country. And of course, in Times Square, that was their big thing in New York. They had a McDonald's in Times Square. So it's the same thing. I'm using the ice cream to, obviously move my real estate business along. So that's why I sold the ice cream shop in Smithfield.
and I have a tenant. Sold the one in Warwick, have a tenant. When I had the one and then of course someday I may sell these other three, and then just end up with tenants, which is fine, So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. It's so long from here, I think. Yeah. I missed this one, Bert. I'm sorry, Bert Fubbles, if you're still on here. I missed your comment that my content brings you joy every time you sit on the toilet. That's funny. That is funny. I'm glad to hear that. I help you move your stuff. I'm glad. I know that other people like using it at night to fall asleep. It's a sleep aid. They watch my TikToks and they go to bed and fall asleep. That's how I fall asleep. I fall asleep making them. That's funny. Let's see. Just look at. Okay, so let me look over here. So that sugar factory yesterday, I had never been there. It's at Foxwoods. It's one of those, it's a destination place, great for an occasion like that. Wouldn't be a regular place that I go to. Obviously, it's Subways are a good business. So Subways are obviously franchises people own, and again, that's the same type of thing. It's a mom and pop. So even though Subway's a franchise, a chain, it is a mom and pop business. Most of them are owned by individual, people. The Subways, you're absolutely right. So you're absolutely right. But yeah, so getting back to the sugar factory, so the food was just regular food. Like I had a buffalo chicken sandwich. The sandwiches were sandwiches. Chris had a chicken salad. The kids had sandwiches, club sandwiches. That's what they had there, just that type of thing. So sandwiches, what I guess they're known for, obviously, the giant drinks and the giant ice cream displays and desserts and everything else. That big giant bowl of ice cream, that big ice cream. So that serves 12 people. You buy it, it serves 12 people. So it was $100 for that bowl of ice cream. That's what it was. It was $100 for that big giant thing of ice cream. So that was the dessert for everybody. So actually, when you think about it, it wasn't a bad. It was $10 a person, really, for us. And so that was, pretty much, what happened there. That tub of ice cream was gigantic. It was huge. No, I didn't have any of the ice cream, but it was huge. I mean, the kids just sat there. You saw they were just scooping it, and that was a huge tub of ice cream. There were candy canes in. There were lollipops in. There was all kinds of candy and all kinds of stuff in there. I didn't even know about the place. My wife told me about it and said that's where Emily wanted to go. And so at one point I was thinking, well, maybe I'll sneak off and go play some blackjack, but I couldn't do that. I hung out with them. When we got there, we first went shopping at the outlets, and then of course we went to the sugar factory. So it was fun. It was a good time. We were going to go bowling, but the bowling alley there was too busy. It was too busy because it was a Saturday, at Foxwoods. Of course, it's busy. I'm trying to look at any other questions I have here. I like to get on the lives. Go on and try to answer the questions on the lives. Of course, it's Sunday, so what does that mean? It's Troll Day, right? It's Troll Day. There was somebody saying, I can't prove. So, briefly, I don't want to get into it. Briefly, the whole Warwick thing, you can't prove everything. Well, first of all, it's public record. Everything's in writing. Everything they send me is in writing. The certified letters, writing's in writing. So what do you mean I can't prove anything? It's in writing. I'm not making it up. And why would I stick myself out there and lie to the whole world about something? That's stupid, The riskiest venture I've ever taken. That's a good question. The riskiest venture I've ever taken. So, I guess it was opening a second nightclub. So when we closed Club Hell in 2012, Joe and I decided to open up a second nightclub in downtown Providence. Now, the reason why I would say that was risky was when we opened up the first club, okay, there were four of us, four partners. Two of us were the investors. Two of us were the managing partners. When I opened up the second club, I was the investor and Joe was the managing partner. So obviously we both took on more of a burden. And the nightclub scene in Providence at that point was really going downhill. So it was really, we're taking a chance, taking a risk. So we opened up the second nightclub, and it was called Dive Bar. So we opened that up on Westminster Street, had that for about 3 years. We got lucky, though. It was risky. Now, it was a restaurant and nightclub when we bought it. We had no interest in running the restaurant. So we turned the restaurant into an ice cream shop. Why? Because I know ice cream shops, right? So, and Joe managed the place. He was great. It was great. So, and Joe, of course, was my partner at Club Hell. So Joe and I have been friends and partners for 30 years. Literally 30 years. Friends and partners. And Joe still, works for my audiovisual business right now as a sales manager, and he's fantastic. So that was risky. It was risky because the nightclub business was going down. It was a risky venture. I spent a lot of money getting it open, converting it from a restaurant to a nightclub, but we got lucky because what happened was they wanted to sell the building. Well, in order for them to sell the building, they had to buy out our lease. So we got lucky. They bought out our lease, and Joe and I took our money and moved on. So that was risky. I've opened up a couple ice cream shops that didn't do well. I opened up one in West Warwick. I was really disappointed. I had bought this building in West Warwick. It has 4 apartments upstairs, 2 storefronts downstairs. I said, I'll put an ice cream shop downstairs. Perfect. Nice neighborhood. Lots of people live here. Nobody went there. It was a dud. Nobody went there. There wasn't a lot of parking, okay? There was parking in the street, but I thought because it's in a local neighborhood and there's a lot of 3 families, 4 families, 5 family houses around there, that it would do okay. It broke even for 2 years. So, you don't want to put in your blood, sweat, and tears and work your ass off to break even. That's not why you're in the business. So I ended up moving the ice cream equipment out of there. So I kept the ice cream and I leased it to a deli. It became a deli at that point. So that's what happened there. So that one was a dud. The ice cream shop in downtown Providence, same thing. Now, the reason why that was a dud, and this is interesting. So Providence only has people in it during the day, for the most part. We're talking 10 years ago, not today, 10 years ago. Office people, businesses, downtown Providence. So they're only there during the day. So the ice cream shop opened up at 12 o'clock. Well, that means they're only going to have customers from 12 to 4, right? Because then everyone goes home at that point. So we had a busy lunch crowd because people go get lunch, come and get ice cream from us. And that was pretty much it. So that one was a dud. It didn't make a lot of money. We tried it for 2 summers, and then we closed that when we let it go. So I've tried different things that way, but Butler Waste was a huge risk. Now, Butler Waste was a risk because, it's a startup company. Banks are not going to loan money to startup businesses, especially a trash business. So that was a big risk because I had to use a lot of my own money to start that business. A lot of money, okay? $400,000 to start that business. And then from there, once the business got started, I had to put more money into it, keep it going. So that was risky. Obviously now, when the other company went out of business, M&M, we bought all their assets, got their drivers. That helped me out. Then this year buying Rollaway, now the business is completely turned around. Now it's making money and it's paying me back my money. So that's great news. But that was a risk. That was a huge risk up front. Real estate is the least amount of risk because you can always sell it. You got an emergency, sell the house. You got an emergency, sell that building. So to me, the real estate is not as risky at all. I also buy conservatively. It's risky if people spend too much money on a piece of property and they're upside down. Now it's a risk. But whenever I buy property, I put a lot of money in, so I have equity. So I make the real estate not risky at all for me. Any problems with ice or frozen handles on the Tesla? I've always wondered about that with those handles. No, never had that problem ever with the handles on the Tesla. I will tell you the problem I had, though, this winter. About a month ago, we had an ice storm, and I was driving down the road, and the windshield wipers completely, they were going, but they were frozen up. They were like giant icicles, and they weren't wiping shit, you know what I mean? Because they were not even touching the windshield, and the whole window fogged up inside. I literally had to pull over. I had to wipe the window. I had to drive 5 miles out to get home. It was very dangerous, and I was very nervous. I came home and Googled it, and I did not know that Tesla has a special feature on it, this defrost feature, that what you do is if it's cold out and your car's all frozen like that, you run this defrost feature, and I think it heats up the inside of the car to like 105 degrees. So it heats up the car from inside out, and it melts everything off of the car before you get into it to go somewhere. I had no idea it even had that feature. It's probably some update they did I didn't know about. So I Googled it, I found out about it, and that's how I, that's so yeah. So I never had anything freeze up on me to get in or out of it, but I did have the, because I think those handles are like waterproof. But I did have that problem that time, was the fogging windshield problem. And that was and ever since then, even a couple times now, it's fogged up a couple times. And I don't like that. I don't like to have to open up the windows. I remember it was 30 degrees. I had the windows open trying to drive. The window, I mean, it was so much moisture in there. It was like wet. The windshield was wet on the inside. Look, I love the Tesla, but it's not the favorite car I've ever had. I've talked about that, but I like it, especially now. Though that's a joke too, because I talked about this the other day. Last week, you know how much I spent on gas last week? Can't say zero. $3,500, because with Butler Waste, with the Elmwood Realty vehicles, all the credit cards, I added the gas receipts, the guys driving to Washington with the trucks, $3,500 I spent on gas last week. The week before that was like 38. So I mean, I can't say I'm saving money with my Tesla now, unfortunately. I parked the Tesla inside my garage, and I have a charger in the garage. It's on the charger now in the garage. The upstairs walkway is not done for the 39 unit. We just did order all the railings for it, though. It's getting there. We're on schedule, which I'm really happy about. It's getting there. The downstairs is almost fully rented, which is really nice. Again, I had a schedule on that. My goal was the end of the month, and we're getting there. So that's moving right along. Once it's fully rented and once the deck is fixed, then we're going to paint the building. We're going to really do a new facade on the front of the building, modernize it. So that will be the next thing we do. Do I drive any of the Elmwood trucks? So so Elmwood has box trucks that we use for our maintenance guys. I've driven one once in a while if I need to. We own 4 pickup trucks for plowing. I drive one. I have one of those. The Toyota Tacoma is what I drive. And then of course we have a bunch of Priuses and for the property managers. I've never driven any of the Butler Waste trucks. I have my CDL, so I could drive it legally. I have no idea how to. Not any idea. In fact, it's funny. One night I was driving down by the office with my wife, and somebody left the lights on in the truck. So I climbed up into the truck, all buttons and knobs. These big trucks. But I couldn't even find the switch to turn the lights off. I had to call somebody. Where the hell's the switch to turn the lights off? So though I could drive them, I never have, but I have driven. So what happened was, Elmwood Realty, Audiovisual Services. So we rent some big trucks sometimes to travel these shows. Sometimes we're on a 26-foot box truck because we load it all up with the staging, the sound, the lighting, the trussing, the video screens, all the equipment. So once in a while, I know I didn't play blackjack. I know. You know what it is? I'll be honest with you. I think I told the story on TikTok, Make Money. The last time I played blackjack at Foxwoods was my birthday last June, and I lost. And that's when I started going to Twin River, and I'm doing very well there. So I don't want to jinx myself. So that's the other reason why I didn't play blackjack. But I could have played 5 minutes yesterday. I just didn't. So hey, Pats fans here too. You guys are doing the same over there. Pats fan makes money. Yeah, I guess I will. I'll have to drive one and get a picture of me driving one just to show that I can drive a Butler truck. That's what I'll have to do. Oh, shoot, I have driven one Butler truck. I forgot about it. So we have a small, it's a toter truck. So I don't know if anyone's ever seen it. Early on, I think I put out one of my TikTok. Well, it was one of the trucks I used to block in the guy at the guy who wasn't paying me his rent. It's a small Butler Waste. It's a garbage truck. It's a toter. It's called a toter truck, where it tips the cans inside the truck. So yes, that one there I've driven a few times because I drove it over to the house to block in the tenant. When I saw him on the camera, put his van in the back of the house, I drove the Butler truck over here to block him in. So I forgot I drove that. Oh yeah, Pats fans back from the Velvet Glove. Oh, yeah, the famous Velvet Glove. What a name for a bar, the Velvet Glove, But yeah, so I forgot that I drove the small one, the small toter truck. We don't even use it. I actually use it down in East Greenwich to block the corner of the property. That's where the TikTok is. If you see the TikTok that I have on there, where I show the truck blocking the intersection where the people cut, where they cut through. I blocked off where the people were cutting the corner because it's dangerous. You know, you got kicked out again. Take Tom Brady back. Tom Brady. Tom Brady. You know. But so that's funny. So I did drive the small truck. I always thought the small truck would be cool to put in like a parade. I used to put a float in the Gaspy Day parade every year for the ice cream shop. So I was thinking I could put a garbage truck in the parade, right? That would be fun. All right, let me see what other questions I have. Hey, makes money. I'm still waiting for you to meet me at Twin River so we can play blackjack. I want to play blackjack. I think we would have a good time. You know, that'd be fun. So TikTok, I have a pet peeve with TikTok. I posted 5 videos the other day. It was the contest I had at the ice cream shop. We did it a few months ago, but because we had the grand opening again on Friday, I wanted to put it up for everybody. So I posted all 5. But for some reason, TikTok doesn't put them in order, so people couldn't find number 3, couldn't find number 4. So they think, I will tell you, I cannot stand it when I'm watching a TikTok and it says, there's a part 2 and you can't find part 2. Or they don't post part 2. You go to their profile and part 2's not there. I cannot stand that. If you're going to do 2 parts, put them both up there. You know what I mean? What do they think? This is not, Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul or The Walking Dead where we got to wait for the next season, right? We're posting videos and information. We put it up right away. So I always do. But I feel bad because I don't think everybody, gets to see them. And then, of course, I look like a jerk because it looks like I didn't put them up. But I always do. Just so you know, full disclosure, when I make a series of videos, I put them up right away. I put them, they don't show up right away. So I don't know if TikTok's algorithm does something, but I always put up right away, just so you know. That's something that I do because I know for me, I can't stand it watching a video and I want to see the second part, So... All right, just want to make sure my mic is still working. I love this new mixing board I got. This is cool. So, well, you know what? If you're getting kicked out, Pat's fan, talk to the moderator if you know who I'm talking about. Because I'm not kicking you out. Mr. Hand Pay. Oh, you watched a dozen videos to catch up? So, yeah, it's interesting because I had talked about last week I had mentioned in my live about when I got sued for the $350,000. So people started asking about it. Well, I had done a TikTok last October about it. So I said, all right, let me repost that. That was a 3-part series about when I got sued when I sold the ice cream shop. And because completely true story. It's in the court records. Anybody can Google it. I have nothing to hide. I always tell you, look, Google it. Go on Court Connect in Rhode Island. You can look up my history. In the Court Connect in Rhode Island, it's all public record. If you put my name in there, you'll see who I've sued, who sued me, what the disposition was, and this and that. I've never lost, knock on wood. I've never lost in court. But yeah, that was a stressful time when I was sued for $350,000. So people were asking about it. So I put it up there to tell the story. It was, I can talk about it now. Back then it was very emotional. It was very difficult. These assholes suing me for $350,000 over a $25,000 ice cream shop. But yeah, so I always put the second and third and fourth part up there. I might do like the ice cream contest. I put all 5 of them up there. I don't know why they didn't go up in order. But anyway, So Scoundrel, I appreciate you watching my feed, my videos. Of course, I appreciate everybody following me. It's kind of fun. So it's interesting. I know there's some. I don't know if you guys follow the same people. There's that James Butler who has Well and Septic Life. He has millions of followers. You get that Ronan GT, who's the petty guy. He has millions of followers. So I guess in April 30th, they're having some big TikTok event in Las Vegas or something. I see they talk about it, where people can go see them and they're having an event or whatever in Las Vegas. That's kind of cool when you think about it, to get to see your followers and stuff like that. But they got millions of followers. So if they show up to Las Vegas and they have millions of followers come, or invite millions of followers, they're still going to have probably, 1,000 people there, Well, yeah, if you want to go, makes sense. I was going to say, I'm actually tempted to go to see them because I think it would just be fun just to attend, I think it'd be fun. When you live 1 hour from Tampa, talk to me. Oh, is that what you do? Hey, So, Scoundrel, you live 1 hour from Tampa? So I take it you're a Tampa fan? Do you live north or south of Tampa? My niece lives, my mother-in-law lives in Venice. My niece lives in Sarasota. Where am I? Oh, you live south? Okay, so like my brother lives in Punta Gorda. What else? And so I have a lot of family in Florida, you know. Oh, you're in Naples. Well, my parents live in Bonita Springs. And it's funny because I am looking for property down there. It's so expensive right now. But very good friend of mine lives in Naples, Scoundrel. In fact, he's actually, sometimes he's on TikTok watching me. But anyway, yeah, Naples is beautiful. Marco Island's beautiful down there. It's beautiful down there. Oh, okay. You live in Bonita Springs, Best Hunter, and you work in Naples. Yeah, my parents actually are coming home. So they, you know, the snowbirds. They have a nice, beautiful house in Bonita Springs. And of course, on a golf community, they play golf every day. So they're coming home this Wednesday. They'll be home for the summer, and then they'll go back again next September. But yeah, they've been in Bonita Springs for years, and they love it. So Bonita Springs is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, in fact, it's funny. So last time I was in Bonita Springs visiting them, I went down to the Immokalee Casino there. I went to the casino down there. I did pretty well actually with blackjack. I won $600. I was there for like 20 minutes. So, oh, you lived in Warwick 20 years ago. You know, isn't that all the people from Warwick go to Florida? What is up with that? Everyone from Rhode Island goes to Florida, right? So, yep. So that's interesting. That's interesting. But no, I mean, Florida's nice. You know, my parents have been asking me to go visit. My friend Bob's been asking me to go visit down there. Oh, you live in West Shore Road? All right. Well, you know, my ice cream shop is on West Shore Road. Yeah. So, never worked with Dixie Normus. Nope. But I've seen the movie. Dixie Normus. You know? Oh, that's funny. Oh, God. Oh, boy. Florida's expensive. Well, yeah, because I was talking to my father this morning. So he was buying gas. I said, how much you pay for gas? At $4.29. Well, we're paying the same price here. I mean, that's pretty much, you know, what we're paying now. It's everywhere. Everywhere's expensive right now. Everywhere's expensive. You know, what's expensive is to get to Florida. I was looking up plane tickets this morning. To get to Florida, and it's very expensive right now. Of course, it's expensive to get anywhere because of the price of gas. You know, it's awful. It's awful. So, 6154 Duke, huh? Let's see what else is there. Yeah, so I've been to the Hard Rock Casino in Tampa Bay. It's right across it's right down the street from the Marriott. Because we've done conferences at the Marriott and the Tampa Convention Center. So listen, I'm a glutton for punishment. Whenever we do a conference near a casino, I have to go to the casino. Whenever we have a show in New Orleans, I go to the Harrah's Casino. You know, so yeah, because I like blackjack. So I am a little bit a glutton for punishment there. If we have a conference that's near a casino, I'm going to go. I'll come up with an excuse why I have to go to the conference. You know, but yeah, so that's why no, you can't book the plane tickets in advance. It's awful. It is really awful right now. The prices are I can't believe how much the prices are. It's crazy. Hopefully things will get back to normal again. It's just, you know, it's been crazy the last couple of years between COVID, people not working, and now prices are going up on everything, on life. You know, it's awful. It really is. It's terrible, you know. But anyway, I you know, and again, we like traveling, but it's hard right now because of the cost of everything. Now, I'm always looking for a bargain. And, you know, I've talked about having the companion pass with Southwest. So when we travel as a family, Benjamin goes for free with me, and Emily travels for free with Carissa because we have the companion passes. So we only have to buy 2 tickets and we get travel for 4. But even the 2 tickets are outrageous right now. A Butler 2024. You know, it's funny. So in Warwick, everyone's saying, "Oh, Jeff, run for something." Well, first of all, I've talked about this before. I don't live in Warwick, so I couldn't run for anything in Warwick anyway. Cranston, where I do live, I think is very well managed, runs great. Cranston, I love City of Cranston. So, to me, yeah, I would run. Have you ever had a run-in with PSA or Freeman? What a great question. Absolutely. Oh, yes, I have. Wow. So let me tell you who that is. PSAV and Freeman, well, of course, PSAV is no longer now, right? They're now Encore. But they were our biggest competitor in the audiovisual business. Now, what happens is in the audiovisual industry, most hotels have an in-house AV company. PSAV was in most hotels as the in-house AV company. The industry standard is they split their profit with the hotel 50-50. So if you're having a conference at a hotel and you book your conference, whatever it is, the Crooked Nose Conference, and everybody has crooked noses goes to the conference, and they sign up, they need audiovisual. So we'll use round numbers. So the hotel might charge $100,000 for that conference, or the hotel AV company. 50% goes to the hotel, 50% goes to the AV company. The hotel does absolutely nothing except refer the AV company. They get 50%. The AV company gets 50%. Now here comes little old me, Audiovisual Services, right? We're just a little old company, right? We're not, because PSAV was owned by, it was owned by, I believe Goldman Sachs was the last people that owned it, if I remember correctly. Before that, they were private. They actually went into receivership and got bought out. Anyway, so we would put a bid in with the hotel. Now, we actually were a client of PSAV because we would rent a lot of stuff from them around the country when we needed equipment. But at different hotels, the managers of PSAV were commissioned. The managers made a commission. Some of them took it very personally when we came in and did an event for somebody at the hotel. Because, at hotels, you're allowed to bring in your own AV company. If you're having an event like Calalea, like talked about earlier, Calalea, they bring us in. Wherever they are, they bring us in. The National Veterinary Dermatology Association. So think about that. The Veterinary Dermatology Association. What do, right? They're one of our best customers. They had a huge show. Ian went to Hawaii 2 years ago. Did a show right in Hawaii, in Kauai, Hawaii. And then last year they were in Puerto Rico. They go to the best, beautiful, nicest places. But anyway, so make a long story short, they bring us with them. They bring Audiovisual Services, the name of my company. In New England, it's New England Audiovisual, but nationally we're known as Audiovisual Services. That's our website, audiovisualservices.com. So the companies or the organizations will hire us to go do their show. PSAV, in theory, is our competition. But once we get the show, most of the time they'll work with us, but often you have a manager at the hotel of PSAV with their office there who is not happy with it, and they do give us a hard time. So yes, to answer your question, we've had many run-ins, but we try not to because, look, we understand the employees of the company, they're working hard. I mean, now, my sales manager used to be an employee of PSAV, actually, and he's now our sales manager. He makes more money with me than he did ever with PSAV because I pay a lot higher commission, more commission. But anyway, yes, so we have had front running. Freeman, not so much. No, Freeman used to, when they were just the decorator, it was wonderful because we'd go in, they would be the decorator, we were the AV company. Now that Freeman's crossed over into audiovisual, they're obviously a competitor. But during COVID, obviously both those companies took huge hits because there was no AV going on for years. They lost a lot of employees. A lot of the AV companies went out of business during COVID. We are finding right now, I think one of the reasons why Audiovisual Services is growing so much so quickly right now where we're hiring is because a lot of the AV companies went out of business and we stayed in business. I kept my employees working for my other businesses, so I never got rid of anybody. Everybody stayed working or around. So when the phone did ring for AV or when we had the opportunity to do a job, plus we started doing virtual events, we stayed in the know. We stayed, doing the events, so we were out there. Oh, that's not bad. Make money at all. That is not bad at all. Round trip $275 on Spirit. That's huge. That's actually not bad at all. So when is that? I know the show is on the 30th, right? April 30th. So that's when the time is at, that's the time when we be going to the show. But that would be really fun. I think it would be fun. Look, Ronan GT, James, they have no idea who I am. I got my measly 200,000 followers. They got millions of followers, right? So they have no idea who I am. But I think it'd be fun to go see them because I enjoy their content. So just like people enjoy my content, I enjoy their content. I mean, it's it's yeah, Boston. Yeah, so it's perfectly from Boston. Oh yeah, sold out. Yeah, okay. Well, why don't they just charge $1 then? It's sold out, right? They might as well discount it down to $1 if you can't buy the tickets. But so it's interesting because like I said, I like following them. I don't know who else is going there. Though they just happen to be two people that I follow and really enjoy on TikTok. James Butler seems to have some of the same stories, similar stories to me, being in business, running a business. Spirit is a bad airline. Well, that's why I see. I use Southwest. I get the Southwest credit cards. I build Southwest points. So typically use Southwest. It's funny you mentioned about the trailer park bill. That's something I've always thought about would be an investment. If I ever saw one locally, it'd have to be a local one, but I would love to own a trailer park. Why not? It's really similar to what I do now with the real estate. It's similar to renting a property or renting spaces for people to put their trailers. And even now, some of the trailer parks, I guess, supply their own trailers and just rent them out. So I think that would be a very good investment, of course, as long as the price is right, why not? Why not? So, but yeah, sold out. You're funny. You're a big tease that make money. So everyone's Brian's actually been enjoying himself on TikTok. So ever since he got sprayed with the plow, right? I mean, he got sprayed. So now he knows that, obviously, people are interested in his antics. So he helped me make the video the other day, and by the way, I got a little secret to tell everybody. It was staged. Okay. The video yesterday, Friday was staged with the toilet paper. That was staged. Okay. Not the one we got sprayed with the plow, obviously. But, it's just funny. The people in the comment, oh, this is staged. Yeah, no kidding. No shit, Sherlock. It was staged. It was just to be funny. It was to have some fun. And it all came out of the true story of where I had to talk to, no, he's not. He's watching right now. The funny thing is that, it all came out of the fact that Friday morning I did have to send out that email to everybody, letting people know, look, why don't we just, in all fairness, the guys can use the men's room, the women can use the women's room, and that's what happened there. So then that's when we came up with the idea of doing the little funny thing with who's using the men's room. Because we did, so I will tell you, we did have a guy that kept using the men's room, or the women's room, and messing it up. So that is true, and that's how come we came up with the idea of doing this. But yeah, somebody kept using it and messing it up. So that was kind of funny. But anyway, so Brian's been enjoying the TikTok ever since his little brush with greatness when he got sprayed with the plow that day, coming back from Dunkin' Donuts. So that's the story with that. So the ice cream shops, so they're up and running right now, right? So we open up on Friday. It's a ramp up process, right? We open up on Friday. Now over the weekend, we work out the bugs. A couple of machines aren't working. We can get those fixed this week. Supplies, chain things, we can get that all. So the goal here now is to work out the bugs. The other issue is to hire employees. Now I got lucky because I opened up on Friday, because I put it on TikTok, because I put it on Facebook, on all the ice cream store or Facebook pages. Now I'm actually getting people to apply. We probably got 100 applications in between yesterday and today, which is great. So now we're getting the applications. By the way, speaking of Facebook, so I always had a Facebook page for my Cranston store. That was the first store I had. Always had a Facebook page for my my West Shore Road Warwick store. I never realized till yesterday morning, I never had a Facebook page for the East Greenwich store. So yesterday morning, I built a Facebook page for that store. So now they each have their own Facebook page, and I'm marketing that they're open now. So that's something, I didn't realize it. So I kind of screwed up there too, Rollaway Disposal. So Rollaway Disposal has its own Facebook page from the other people that owned it. When we bought Rollaway, I got the Facebook page, but I forgot that I got it. I'm lucky because the phone numbers ring to me, the email goes to me, everything from Rollaway comes to me. Okay, but I don't have control over the page. I got to contact tomorrow. I got to just contact the previous owners and get the username and password so I can update the page. But so I'm lucky because everything points to me, but I want to have the page, for Rollaway. And I know people say, "Oh, Facebook's going down." For me, Facebook works, and while it still works, I'll use it. TikTok obviously works too because, again, I'm on TikTok. I see a lot of local people. There are people around the world, but I don't know how it works, the algorithm, like how many of my followers are, Rhode Island, New England, the East Coast. I don't know how that works, and how they pick and choose. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it's important to be able to market the businesses and to, and again, I don't run advertising on TikTok. I just talk about the business and running it and things like that, I don't really, I'm not advertising on here. I guess by me talking about it, it's advertising. So, but the thing is, the kids were excited to come back. It's I think they're like me. In the winter, we're glad we're on a hiatus in the winter, but it's also nice to be back too in the spring. So, so now the store's going to be going up until October now. So that's going to be a whole, stressful thing until October. But like I said, so let me see on my phone. If I can see if the stores are doing any business today or not. So I told you this. So, actually, this is kind of cool. So I talked about this before, right? On Square, I do everything by, everything. Listen, I love Square. I love the Square app because it gives me information. So what did I say last week? If people pay attention to my TikToks, in the spring, in the fall, the business is different. It's busy during the day and it slows down at night because it's warm during the day. It gets cool at night. In the summer, it changes. So in the spring, it's this kind of curve, right? Because it's busy during the day and slows down at night. In the summer, it's busy in the afternoon, slows down at dinner, and it gets busy again at night. So it's a different type of curve. So here you go. Here's today's curve, right? It's a Sunday. See, this is a graph. This is each hour. I think you said, see, that's each hour. See how it started out slow, got busy, and now look, now it's slowing down again. So that's a perfect spring day at the ice cream shop. Okay, that's typical of the springtime. So give you an example. So I like to show examples of, the reality of it, and that's where it becomes hard to manage because now you want to have people on during the day, enough people on during the day to serve the customers to get them, keep it going. But then during the summer, you want to make sure you have enough people on at night. But anyway, so I just wanted to show you that. So that's kind of cool how today was a typical day of where it gets busy in the afternoon when it's nice out and gets slow at night. Like right now, it's slowing down. But now it's 7 o'clock right now. In June, on the 20th, on a Sunday at 7 o'clock, I will need 5 people at that store. Manning the store's managing because that's a whole different story now. June, 7 o'clock on a Sunday. Sundays are usually the busiest day of the week, by the way, if anybody asks. Second busiest day is usually Saturday. Third busiest day is Friday. Fourth busiest day over the years. This is over the years. Anybody know? Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Don't know why, but Tuesday is the fourth busiest day. All being equal. Nice weather. Tuesday is the fourth busiest day. So it's just funny, all these different trends, you know what I'm saying, that happen in the ice cream shop. You see it, That giant bowl of ice cream was $100, and even $100. They charge $100. It serves 12 people. That giant bowl of ice cream. The lawsuit, when I was sued for $350,000, I did win. They were suing me on 6 different counts, I guess you would call it. There were 6 different things that the jury was voting on. Okay, and I won all 6. Oh, it's ridiculous, but when you think about it, it was $8 a person, so it's not that bad for the, it was like a giant sundae. So you know what? When you think about it that way, it was, for 10 people, it serves 12 people, but there was only 10 of us. So it's not awful for that gigantic bowl of ice cream, and of course it's a specialty thing and this and that. Would I get it? No, but it was a special thing. It was a birthday party, and so and it was a nice event, So part 2 of what, Stephen? What are you looking at part 2 on? Part 2 of, I don't know. Part 2 of what? And I could tell you. But getting back to the lawsuit, the lawsuit. When I go back to my memory here, part 2 of the trial, it's on there, all 3. So there's 3 parts to it. So, so what happened was, first of all, she bought the ice cream shop. Okay, and yeah, I could sell them for parties. You're right. Maybe we do something like that at the ice cream shop. That's true. That's true. when I got sued for $350,000, I sold the ice cream shop for $25,000 to this lady. Okay, she took it over and her son. They ran it for a year. The bully building inspector, I'll tell you the story about that after too, before I leave. The update for this week. So, she bought the ice cream shop. They ran it for a season, and all of a sudden in September they stopped paying their rent. They didn't pay their rent. No, it's a business. It's commercial real estate. September they didn't pay their rent. October they rent. They sent me a letter. We're not paying our rent. You stole from us. You lied about the ice cream shop. We're not paying our rent. We're suing you. So they left the store. I took the store back over, I locked up the doors. They didn't pay their rent. It's commercial space. All of a sudden, I get a lawsuit. This lawyer in Rhode Island, Casby Harrison is his name. I don't mind saying his name. Filed a lawsuit against me for fraud. Said that I lied to him about the numbers and this and that. So I then, had to hire a lawyer. So during this time, they were doing discovery, right? They're asking for documents and records and this and that. This lawyer spent so many hours asking, he went through the fine-tooth comb. He also, this lawyer, had a private investigator following my family around, took pictures of the kids, took a picture of us, took a picture of my parents on the jet ski on the lake. This private investigator. So he spent money on this investigator, chasing me around. So then we go to court. And of course, we didn't know how much the lawsuit was for until we went to court. So we go to court, and it was I'm getting to the point. Somebody's asking about the story. I'm getting to the point. Okay, I'm telling the story of the lawsuit. Get to the point. What are you, in a hurry? So, and you know what? If you want to see the point, you can go look at my TikToks. I did a TikTok on it, and it's a 3-minute TikTok. You learn it. So anyway, so we go to court. It was interesting because it was a real jury trial where we sat there, my lawyer and I, and you pick the jury, you ask them questions, you pick the jury. So the only thing I suggested to my attorneys, look, pick somebody who's a hardworking person who worked hard their whole life, who has a job, not somebody, because what happened was this lady, I don't think worked very hard, and she thought the money was just going to magically show up when she opened up the ice cream shop. So a couple of things that happened during this lawsuit. Couple of things that happened during the lawsuit was, I'm looking at questions as they come in. They had a forensic accountant go through all my books too. So they had that guy testify. They paid $22,000 for this forensic accountant. So he testified, right? Then, she testified, and of course the jury's over there. So after the second day, it was a 5-day trial. After the second day of the trial, the judge suggested to my attorney, he had the jury leave the room. They always have the jury leave the courtroom, just like on TV. And he suggested to my attorney that maybe we should try to settle it. Well, so of course, that doesn't look good. If the judge is suggesting try to settle it, he knows something that we don't know, or he's the judge. So they were asking for $350,000. They were asking for the $25,000. Then they were asking for $75,000 that she thought she should have made. Says the 100, and then they multiply it times 3 punitive damages. So it was like ridiculous. But anyway, they're asking for $350,000. So anyway, so I said to my lawyer, look, I want this to go away. It's been going on for 2 days, 3 days. I want to get back to my business. It's taking me away from running my business. I want it to go away. So he goes, well, you come up with a number and I'll offer it to him. So he called Casby and we were in the room in the courthouse. So we offered him, at the time, $50,000. I said, I'll give him $50,000. I'll take out a loan. I'll just give him $50,000, let him go away, blah, blah, blah. Not that I thought he did anything wrong, but I didn't want it to go anymore. And if I lost, it would have been 5 times that, right? Or 7 times that. He laughed. The asshole laughed at me and said, how about 7 times that? And walked out of the room. So at that point, I was like, well, might as well just finish the trial. So we did. We finished the trial, went through each day, questions answered. What happened, though, is he overplayed his hand. So one of the things he did, I told you he had a investigator following us around. So he tried to make it look like I was some rich guy taking advantage of this, this divorcee lady, right? So first he says, what kind of car do you drive, Mr. Butler? Don't you drive a Cadillac Escalade? So I said, yes, I do. So what happens is, they lead you with questions. So when he asked me the question, then I remembered. So I would tell my lawyer, hey, ask the question about the Cadillac. Because the reason why is what he didn't ask was, how old is it and how much is it worth? Well, it was a 10-year-old car that I bought used. It was only worth like $2,500. I bought it used, and that's what I was driving at the time. He forgot to mention that. Same thing with my jet ski. Aren't you driving a Sea-Doo jet ski? Yeah. And I bought it on eBay for $3,500. So that's where the lawyer was a jerk and he overplayed his hand because the jury saw where he was a jerk and he overplayed his hand. But what really won the case, and of course, yes, I did win on all 6 counts, completely exonerated, went away. The lawyer is out $20,000 for the forensic accountant. He's out all the money he paid on his private investigator and all the time he put into the trial. So you know what? Good for him. So good for him. It was a wonderful ending to the case. It was a wonderful ending. But what won the case for me was this. They had all kinds of evidence against me. I only had one piece of paper that was my defense. And what it was my profit and loss statement for the year, because that's all I use is one sheet of paper. That's all my expenses. Well, one of my expenses is advertising. $3,500 I would spend on advertising. She spent $0 on advertising. She didn't spend one dime on marketing. When she opened up, like I did, I've been talking about it this weekend. What am I doing? I'm on Facebook advertising. I pay for the advertising on Facebook. I'm advertising everywhere I can, right? Marketing my website, everything I can do. On Square, I have Square customers, 3,000 customers. I sent them all coupons, right? So that's what I do. So she didn't do any advertising. So my lawyer asked her, you didn't do any advertising? No, I don't need to. It's an ice cream shop. You open up and they come. So I got on the stand and I said, you don't open up and they come. You got to remind them you're there. You're closed for 4 months. You got to remind them they're there. So the argument was, the dogs are going crazy. The argument was, or my defense was the fact that they didn't do what I did to run the store. How can they sue me? They didn't do advertising. The other thing they did is they stopped selling Dell's Lemonade. Dell's Lemonade was 30% of my sales. They just stopped. Instead, they decided to do smoothies. They made smoothies instead of Dell's. So they changed the store around. They stopped selling Dell's, started selling smoothies. So that's another thing that hurt them. But the other thing that hurt them, too, was the forensic accountant did all his accounting. Get up there and told him how I possibly couldn't have made $70,000, blah, 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 blah. Right? So what happened was, when I got on the stand, my lawyer said, why is there a discrepancy? I said, because the forensic accountant never said a word about Dell's. He never asked Dell's for their records, the $30,000 I made selling Dell's. So his accounting was flawed because he didn't do the research. So that's what really put the nail in the coffin. They didn't account for the $30,000 a year I did in Dell's. They didn't advertise. Okay, yet she's telling me that the store didn't do what it was supposed to make. So what did she think? She was going to go there and magically do whatever she wanted to do, close the doors, and was going to make $80,000? No. So that's what happened. So she lost. Yeah, so what happened was, I think he did go after her. Look, you want to know what the balls this guy had? Listen to this with this lawyer, right? So now they lost. Now, they could have appealed it to the Supreme Court. They could have gone, because we were in Superior Court. They could have gone to the Supreme Court in Rhode Island. But it would have cost him something like $15,000. Well, he just lost. He just lost his ass, right? Suing me on this one with all his bullshit, right? So we knew that he wasn't going to go to the Supreme Court, but he could have. But it would have cost him a lot of money. You have to request the transcripts from the case. It's a big, big thing. So do you know he called my lawyer? And my lawyer hated him worse than I did because of what he did to me with, following me around. He made it very personal. He called my lawyer. Does Jeff want to help pay for some of my expenses? My lawyer just hung up on him. I mean, I couldn't believe that. He was thinking that he would use it as leverage. So, said, no, if he wants to take me to the Supreme Court, let him go to the Supreme Court. So I called his bluff. So they got $0 from me. Now, on my TikTok, I said it cost me to $7,000 to $8,000. People think I said $70,000. No, my legal fees for the whole thing was $7,000. And no, unfortunately, I couldn't recoup it because you can't get blood out of a stone. I would have to sue her, and then it would just cost me more money to get it. So I was happy it went away. It cost me $7,000. It went away, and I won that case. So I'm happy about that. Justice prevailed, I guess you could say. The jury was great. It was a smart jury, obviously. After the fact, I remember like a year later, one of the jurors came to the ice cream shop, introduced herself to me, and said, I was on your jury, blah blah. But no, it was emotional too. I worked hard building the ice cream shop. I work hard every day doing the ice cream, and I had this lady telling me that I lied to her. And look, I'm not going to screw somebody out of $25,000. That's not me. That's not the way I would do it. That's not how you make money. I know there are people that do that. There are people that sell their business and will hold the paper. You probably have heard the stories. They'll hold the paper for buyers, knowing that the buyer will go out of business and these people will get the business back. That is so unethical and immoral, and you see it happen all the time. but do you have to pay them to sell Dells? So no, the way Dells works is you buy the Dells, you have to buy the product from Dells, and you have to buy the cups from Dells, and you do pay a premium for the cups and the product. That's how Dells makes their money. Dells makes their money from the profit that they sell you the cups and the product for. And of course, then I sell it and make money off the Dells. Let's see. Oh, I never did do the closet snack video. Boy, I'll tell you, make money. You have a memory. You are unbelievable. All right, I will do this closet snack video. I promise you tomorrow you will see the closet snack video. And you will not believe it. It looks like a grocery store. Okay? So, I can't do it tonight because they're home and I'll get divorced. I'm lucky that my wife doesn't even watch TikTok. That's how come I can do the closet snack video. So, that's the funny part. Now, my wife's boss watches TikTok. You better not tell her. I'll get in trouble. I know. But that's all right. You're watching it while you're watching me. I think that's cool. You are multitasking, and that's okay. That's okay. I know. 75, 74. I mean, look at it. Usually I do my lives downstairs in the studio and I have a TV in front of me and I watch TV at the same time, So anyway. Any last minute questions before I go tonight? But yeah, so the lawsuit was a factual thing. I did win that lawsuit, and that was a tough one. But yeah, so there's people out there that are unscrupulous. Will disco make a comeback? Good question. I hope not. It's funny because when we had the nightclub, so our nightclub was unique. It was a college club. Every night was a different theme. So one night we had Wednesday night was fetish night. Oh, that was a great night, fetish night. So Wednesday was fetish night. Thursday was college night. Friday night was just a regular, weekend dance night. Friday and Saturday. Sunday night was Sunday night was a gothic night. You had gothic music. Everyone comes in dressed in black, and the gothic people. That's what Sunday nights were, And then Monday night was disco night. We had a disco theme for a while, So do you trade tenure in a job for a much higher paycheck? Do I trade tenure in a job for a much higher paycheck? No, I don't think so. Do I trade tenure for a higher paycheck? No. So what do you mean now on that? Do I give people longer term? If they've been there long term, they get a higher paycheck? Is that what you mean? I don't understand that question. I'm sorry. I'm a little confused on that. Do I trade tenure? Because usually tenure means you're there for a long time and you get a higher paycheck anyway. So I'm a little confused by that. I'm sorry. If you can explain it, I'd love to answer it, to the best of my ability, what your order from Dunkin' Donuts, latte or regular coffee? Dunkin' Donuts, here's what I get every single time. Medium hot coffee, light with 2 Splenda. I'm very boring. Medium hot coffee, light with 2 Splenda. That's it. Or because I'm a cheapskate and I'm always looking for a bargain. When I build up my Dunkin' Donuts rewards, so how they have the Dunkin' Donuts rewards. Whenever I build up my rewards, because I got the app on my phone, so it's funny. There's a great question. So here's my Dunkin' Donuts app, right? It's opening right now. So I have right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 free beverages coming. So because I'm a cheapskate, I always use it for a large frozen coffee because that's the most expensive drink they sell. So, but actually, I like the large frozen coffees, right? So that's what I use. I always use so I have 6 right now coming. Now, the reason why I have so many is because when I'm in the office, I'll buy coffee. In the afternoon, we do a coffee run. I give Heather the phone or Brian, hey, place an order for everybody, and I use my app. So that's how come I get so many freebies. But I usually get I usually get the large frozen, but I get the medium hot light with 2 Splenda. My wife loves Starbucks. Love Starbucks. For me, it's a little too strong. I just don't like it, But, so if you get a new job that pays more, but not a sure thing. That's a good question. That is a real good question. It's not a sure thing, but it pays more. I guess it depends on what you do for a living. For instance, if you're a plumber, you can write your own checks. If you go somewhere that's paying more and it's not a sure thing, what do you care? You can get a job anywhere being a plumber, right? That job is desirable right now. So I don't know what you do, what your specialty is, what you do, but plumber, electrician, carpenter, if you can write your own, you can write your own check. So for you, being not a sure thing, that'd be interesting to know what you do. Because for me, yeah, why not take the risk? Especially now, everyone's hiring. So if it doesn't work out, you can get a job somewhere else. So Dixie Normus, the company. Have I heard of the company Dixie Normus? No. What is it? So you're a teacher, but it's not a sure thing. Well, even teachers though, isn't everybody hiring for teachers right now? Isn't everybody looking for teachers? So if it's not a sure thing, and especially if you have tenure, you've been a teacher for a long time, I guess the question is, are people I know, all right, so my brother, was a teacher by trade. He's an administrator in a school now. So I guess, the question is, are you sort of at a certain step where you're thinking that if this job doesn't work out, somebody else won't hire you because they have to pay you at whatever step you're at, the 12th step or 10th step, whatever it is. My thought is right now, teachers in such need, it probably won't matter. You probably can get a job anywhere, So to me, I mean, I think you're, if it's not a sure thing, why not, take it, But I guess teachers can't collect unemployment, right? If you're unemployed, I guess, is that the case? But I mean, there's a lot of jobs out there for teachers right now. There's a lot of jobs for everybody out there. That's for sure. I don't know why that's. I hear myself a little bit, but let's see. What is Dixie Normus? What is it? I mean, other than a joke from Austin Powers. I know. Well, no, I won't play the slot machines. I cannot take myself to play the slot machines. The only electronic game I'll play the roulette the roulette they have where the ball actually, it's a real roulette ball spins, but you sit and you play electronically. I'll play that one. But the slot machines, well, I can't say that. Once in a while, I'll throw $10 in the slot machine. Once in a great while. If I've won and I'm leaving the casino and I'm happy, I'll try a slot machine on the way out and just throw away $10. So, but yeah, that's so funny. It's funny. I didn't throw $100 in the slot machine. I know. That's because I threw why? Because I threw $100 into a big bowl of ice cream. That's why. That was enough. So I am always looking for bargains. By the way, always looking for coupons. Always looking for bargains. If I put coins on the machine, I want clean drawers, a Hershey bar, or a Diet Coke. That's funny. That's true. So that's fine. I was thirsty yesterday, right? Yeah, I'm in Rhode Island, Jeff. Great name, Jeff. So we were walking around the casino. He said I was really thirsty, so we were walking around the outlets, and there was a vending machine there, and I wanted a bottle of water. So the vending machine, you can see all the waters in there, right? Where it's the kind of one where you push the button and the thing spins, and the water comes out, right? It says sold out, but it's not sold out. The thing's full, but it wouldn't work. It was sold out. I don't understand that one at all. You don't make money that way. But who am I to tell the casino how to make money? That was worse than the slot machine? I don't know about that. I enjoy roulette. So here's the thing about roulette, right? Roulette has terrible odds, right? Terrible odds. We know that. But I enjoy playing it. I have a system. Doesn't work that well all the time. It's just a relief sometimes from blackjack. When I want to do something different, I'll go sit at the roulette table and I'll play roulette. The nice thing about roulette, too, is you go to a table that has like a $10 minimum. So you can sit there and you can play for a long time. If you're spreading your money out, you can play for a long time on $10. Yeah, everyone ate the ice cream. I didn't have any of the ice cream because I was full. I had a shake. I had a chocolate shake, and I had my buffalo chicken sandwich. I was full, so I didn't have any ice cream. Einstein said you can only win roulette. I believe that. I believe that. Oceanfront property, yeah. Any opinions? Yeah, oceanfront property. You can't go wrong if you get it for the right price. I mean, you can't even get it now, but if you can get it, you talk in Rhode Island anyway, it's millions of dollars. And if you can get oceanfront property, especially down in Florida or whatever, yeah, why not get it? I was telling the big mistake I made was an oceanfront property, but a couple of years ago I had the opportunity to buy these 4 houses on a little compound on Lake Winnisquam up in New Hampshire, and I should have done it, and I didn't do it, and I still kick myself to this day because it would have been a nice little summer retreat to go to. But then again, I don't know how often I'd get there. I like staying home. I'm a summer homebody guy. We like entertaining here. We have lots of parties. We have lots of friends over, and so I don't know how. But anyway, yeah. So getting back to your issue, oceanfront property. If you're buying it to live in, yeah, if you can afford it, why not? But it's expensive. I mean, I could never afford it. I have Ocean View property down in Narragansett, and even, and that's pretty much it, the rental property I have down in Scarborough Beach. But, and that's Ocean View. Oh, the prices are so out of control, Jeff. I mean, that's the other thing, too. The only thing I'm afraid of now is that things are selling for higher over asking, right? Things are selling, just like 2007. The cycle is happening again, in my opinion. Things are selling so high. In 5 years, just like in 2007, 5 years, is everything going to crash down and everyone's going to be upside down again in their houses? I don't know. Am I going to be buying the same houses back that I just sold 2 years ago, at retail? Am I going to be buying them back at the auction, Yeah, a lot of Jeff today. A lot of Jeff. If you bought in Westerly, Watch Hill, that whole area, it's unbelievable down there, the prices in Westerly. Unbelievable. Even the auction houses down there sell for unbelievable money. But yeah, if you bought in Westerly, I don't know if it's where you live or if it's a investment property. But yeah, why not? So single families, 2 duplexes, 3 families right now, you can cash out. If you own it anywhere, but I mean, obviously waterfront's even better, you can really cash out and make a ton of money. The properties I buy, 6 units, 8 units, 10 units, 20 units, 40 unit, those properties, their values have gone up a little bit, but not like they have with the single family houses, obviously. Oh, she made bank on a golf course home. So yeah, I did. So I had a house that I bought at the auction in West Warwick on a golf course. The whole backyard of the house was on Midville Country Club in West Warwick. I bought it at the auction, and I was going to renovate it and sell it, but I had somebody come along and made me such a good offer. I was like, yeah, I'll just sell it. So I sold it and made some nice money. And he's renovating it. Now, I was going to make it, the house is 4,000 square feet. I was going to make it into 2, 3-bedroom apartments. He left it as 4,000 square feet. He's making it into a big, beautiful golf course front home property. So different, we had different ideas with it, but he'll do well with it. He's going to flip it. I was going to make it to 2, I was going to keep it and add it to my inventory, Hey, no problem, Jeff. I hope I was helpful. I mean, but obviously, why not cash out now? So here's the issue, right? So if you cash out now, what do you do with that money? Stock market? I don't know right now, right? Or what do you do? Do you just bank it? Do you invest it? So it's a tough one. It's a real tough one. Yeah. So in the neighborhood where my house was, you could do apartments because there was all duplexes on that street. The whole road was duplexes, and my house was a single family. So it was zoned for it, and I had gotten approval from the city to do a duplex there, and then I ended up selling it. So that's what happened with that one in West Warwick. How would you go about doubling rent with a new purchase? That's a great question because I just ran into that problem in a couple of properties I just bought. I bought some properties that were from people that had inherited them, so the rents were less than half what they market, less than half a market. So there's 2 ways of going about it. One way is you sit down with the people and say, look, you're paying such low rent right now because the other people didn't have a mortgage, so they afforded you the ability of low rent because they had no mortgage. Unfortunately, I just bought your property. I have a mortgage, so I am forced to raise your rent out of necessity to pay the mortgage. So you can have that conversation with the tenant. You don't have to. You're not forced to. But if you want the tenant to stay or you think they're a good tenant, you want them to stay, and you want to have the conversation with them and explain to them why you're raising rent, fine. In this case here, So what I've done in the past is, hey, so I have to bring you up to market rent. So if they're paying, for instance, I have an example. I have somebody paying $400 for a $1,200 a month apartment. Good, right? I just bought it. So I'm raising them up to $1,000. 1,200 is the market. I'm getting them up to $1,000. So I told them, look, the best I can do is $100 a month for 6 months to get you up to $1,000. I know that maybe they don't even like that idea, and they'll probably end up leaving. At that point, when they leave, I'll fix up the apartment and get to $1,200. But I'm trying to give them an opportunity to stay, but also for me to pay my mortgage. The other way of doing it is you rip the Band-Aid off. You just say, look, I just bought the property. Unfortunately, I have to raise the rent to $1,200 to whatever market is. That's the other option. Again, I always try to, I don't know what the tenants. So here's the problem. You're thinking when they're paying low rent, they can't afford it. But you don't know what their financial situation. They could be sitting. In fact, I'll tell you what happened with me. I bought a property about a year ago in West Warwick. So it's a 2-family, 2-unit, first floor, second floor. So the guy in the first floor is only paying $600 a month rent. It's a $1,400 a month apartment. Why is he only paying $600? So I go over there and meet the guy. He has a brand new motorcycle, 2 brand new cars in the driveway. He's single and lives by himself. So I'm thinking to myself, well, he obviously has the money to pay rent. If he's driving 2 brand new cars, there's a brand new Harley, $25,000 Harley sitting there, but he's paying cheap rent. So the problem is that, do they know they're getting away with a bargain? Probably. So, you know what? I would just say, if you don't mind losing the tenant, you rip the Band-Aid off, as Andrew would say. You send them the notice that you're raising the rent to the market rent and call it a day. You could always try, though, like I said, what I do, and that is, hey, I have to go up $100 a month for the next 6 months. So every month you're going to go up $100 till you get to market rent or close to market rent. And if they move at that point, they move. At least you gave them the opportunity to stay, and it was their choice to move. Makes me feel better when they choose to move. Yeah, you can raise the rent as much as you want, the market rent. I mean, there's no they don't have any fixed rent here in Rhode Island. There's no it's not like New York City, where they have the fixed rent, and they don't have that here. There's no rent control here. And at the same, so I'll give you an example. I bought a 6-unit house. So the 6-unit house I bought, it's a beautiful house, water view, house. The tenants are all paying well below market because the lady that owned the house owned it for 50 years. The mortgage has been paid for 20 years. Everything she's getting is profit, except for taxes and insurance. Everything else is profit. So she could afford to charge $600 a month for rent because she had no mortgage. Here comes Jeff Butler. I buy the house. I have a mortgage. My mortgage is $3,000 a month. So $3,000 a month divided by 6 is $500 a month, right? So $500 per apartment. So that means I have to get $1,100 apartment to make the same amount of money she was making. Just for me to break even, the same amount of money she was making, I have to get $1,100 where she was getting $600. So I had no choice but to raise the rent. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I have to raise the rent to pay my mortgage. My mortgage is $3,000 a month. Where's that $3,000 going to come from, right? So that's where and of course, taxes too. So that's where people don't understand that. And yes, you're allowed to raise the rent because you got to pay the bills. You're allowed to raise the rent because you got to pay the bills. And that's why, so in New York and rent control, they talk about rent control because the people can't sell the buildings because there's not enough money coming in to justify the cost of the building or to pay for the building. But here, we don't have to worry about that. It is what it is, Yeah, if you can't, Nicole, you're right. If you can't pay, you can't stay. But I am convinced, especially this last round of properties I bought, where the people paid $400 a month, they knew they were getting away with it. There's another guy that lived there. He knows he's getting away with it. And then they tell you the old, well, I cleaned the hallways. I fixed this. I took care of this for the landlord, so that's why I got a deal on the rent. Well, you didn't do a very good job, buddy, because the place is falling apart. I'm evicting somebody right now for not paying his rent. He said the same thing. Because I buy a lot of distressed property, so I admit they're distressed when I buy them, right? But also the distress, because it's usually older people that couldn't take care of it. They're retired. They don't want to take care of it. They're done being landlords. They want to cash out. But yeah, that's what happens. So they know, these tenants know they're getting a bargain. And then of course they're afraid that when I come in, I'm going to raise the rent. Of course I am. I'm going to have a mortgage. I have to raise rent. I got to cover the bank. I got to pay the bank. I got to pay the mortgage, California, people want to live near the coast, and the state is giving cities a hard time. Why is that? Because of the coastline? They're trying to preserve the coastline? What are they saying? I'm just curious about that. That's interesting. But yeah, so
That's why the tenants think, oh, what a jerk, he's raising our rent. Well, no, I got to pay my bills. I got bills that the other person didn't have. How many for month of March no pay rent?
Great question. Right now, so every day I get a report
From the office as to how much money we are owed. Now, it's not just the month of March, but right now, $50,000. So right now, Elmwood Realty is owed $50,000. The reason why it's not just March is that includes January, February, people that applied for rent relief that we have not received yet. There are some people, for instance, out of that $50,000, there's one guy that owes us, believe it or not, $8,000. I bought a piece of property 3 months ago. He already owed them money. He applied for rent relief. For some reason, rent relief's taken forever to pay. That one person owes 8 out of the 50. So 50 sounds like a lot. It is a lot. What am I talking about? It sounds like it's a freaking lot. Okay. It was never like that before COVID. The rent relief, the whole thing is what's made this so high. But probably out of the 50, 38 or 40 of it is rent relief that we're waiting to get. Okay. To answer the question, which is too bad. So, they're not offering affordable housing options. Well, you know why? Yeah, because obviously the waterfront property, people are trying to make as much money as they can on the waterfront property. Affordable housing is interesting because there's always a need for affordable housing, right? So Section 8 is affordable housing, and of course we accept Section 8 in my apartments. But there's not, I never realized there's not a lot of landlords or property owners that accept Section 8, accept vouchers, accept assistance. I do. They pay market rent, so I don't know why landlords and property owners wouldn't take it. They pay market rent. Whatever the market rent is, that's what they're paying you. You get the rent.
62,000, 12,000. Yeah, but I did get 6 of it, so you're right, but it'd be 56,000. But yeah, it's a lot of money. Now that number fluctuates every day because every day rent relief does deposit into our accounts electronically. So somebody will see a payment come in. So that number does fluctuate. That's probably the highest right now it's ever been is the 50,000, which is very high. And because again, that means that, I have to cover rents and mortgages knowing that money, we don't have that money. That's why people don't understand that, especially in our case, it's very tight. You buy a piece of property, you get your mortgage, you got to pay the mortgage taxes, insurance, and in some cases the heat, the gas. It's a lot of blackjack hands, especially when you're playing $1 a hand, right? No, or even $100 a hand is a lot of blackjack hands, It is a lot of money. But, like I said, Section 8's been great about paying. The money's been coming. People are getting approved. And like I said, that one guy is responsible for about $8,000 of that. And that one there is the one that makes me nervous because he wasn't approved before I bought the property. Now I own the property. Still is not approved. Yeah, that's a problem. So a landlord shuts his phone off. So that's crazy. So because I'm a paranoid nut, I sleep with my phone next to my bed, which, because I'm a nervous Nelly, okay? He should really have an answering service. He should have somebody, taking the calls. Shutting the phone off is a problem because what if the house burns down, right? I mean, God forbid, right? So that's not a very good landlord. He should have a way of tenants being able to reach him or if there's an emergency. Now, here's the problem. If that landlord is going to be that not caring, if there is an emergency, call the fire department. Anytime there's an emergency, just call the fire department or call the police. Okay? The landlord won't be happy when the police and the fire department comes. You want to know why? If the police and fire department come to the building and there's a problem, who do they call next? The building inspector. So that landlord is only setting himself up for bigger problems by shutting his phone off at 8 p.m. and not being available. That's the way I look at it. We like to handle problems right away. For instance, this morning, right? I get a phone call this morning at 7:30. He's one of the people that work for me. He rents a garage for me because he works on antique cars, so he uses one of my garage. He called me up, which I'm glad he did. He told me that one of the tenants who we're evicting made a huge mess in the yard. Just threw everything all over the yard. It's a mess. Well, I am paranoid about minimum housing getting called over there and me not even getting fines. I hate even getting the phone calls. I don't want the city to think that we're slobs, right? So this guy called me up, told me about it. So I immediately texted the tenant. I said, look, he's being evicted. And the deal we made with him was if he moves out by April 1st, we will drop the eviction. So it won't be on his record. The eviction will not be on his record if he moves out by April 1st. So he doesn't want it on his record. Nobody wants an eviction on their record unless they're kooks. So we agreed that if he moves out by April 1st, he won't have the eviction on his record. Well, what he did is he's all pissed off that we're asking him to leave. And he made a huge mess in the yard, just threw all kinds of garbage all over the yard. So I texted him this morning. I said, if you don't want the eviction on your record, you better clean up that mess by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning because I better not hear a thing from the city. So I happened to drive by there an hour later this morning. Him and his brother out there cleaning the mess up. He got the hint. He got the message. A bunch of bullshit, But there are bad. Yeah, so I do pay the heat on some of them. Some of the newer properties that I just so I always divide up the heat. I do not believe in paying anyone's heat or electricity. I don't. I believe people should have their own destiny. They want the place cold, they can have it cold. They want it hot, they can have it hot. I don't want to be in control of that. And let them pay their own bills. So when I buy properties, a lot of them have the heat included until I split them up. And but that is I always split them up. I'm just right now I have a 13 unit in Pawtucket that we're installing 13 separate heating systems in to take it off the big giant boiler in the basement, so I don't have to pay the $15,000 gas bill anymore. So there's a big bill sometimes. Some of them are small bills. I have one building that we pay the heat in, and what I did is I put a high efficiency system in, and it's only a couple $100 a month, which is not bad. And now I'd say, is it worth it splitting it up? Because I did, So TikTok, Nicole, TikTok is changing your words? Why? What happened, Nicole? Did I miss something? What's TikTok doing to you? They know how to play the... Oh, what was it supposed to be? The rebar game. What were you trying to say? Changing your words. That's funny. Yeah, Pawtucket. Yep, in the bucket. Yep. So, hey, Grix, 35, how you doing? But anyway, yeah, so we do divide up the heat as much as possible. Whenever I possibly can, I divide up the heat. I don't want to pay people's heat or electricity at all. So whenever I possibly can. So, oh, you never said that? What did you say? That's so funny. But so yes, that's the story. That's the story with that. Hey, let me see if this. I told you I got this little thing now. So I got this thing. I'm going to be doing live podcasts where I actually want to go on, do a live podcast, probably on YouTube. But people can call me on the phone, so I can actually talk to them on the telephone. And it sounds crystal clear. It's unbelievable. It's really cool how I can. It plugs right into my system here. It's really nice. So I'm happy about that because I don't know if people are going to want to talk to me on the phone. I would hope they do. Make money, Grix. Why Grix isn't feeling good? Grix isn't feeling good. So yeah, listen, I'm gonna do a demo. How's that? 521-89. Oh shit, that's not my number. I don't know my number. Let's see if this works. So I'm gonna call my office. Well, actually, I'm calling the audio visual office. Ouch, that's the worst. What's the worst? Oh, kidney infections, kidney stones, I had a kidney stone a few years ago. I had to go to the hospital. They had to give me morphine at Kent County Hospital for it. I actually had to get more. I had to get morphine because it was so much. The pain was unbelievable. See, watch this now. Look, I can actually talk to. See, listen. Can you hear that? Listen.
Thank you for calling Audio Visual Services, the national leader in audio visual production.
I'm going to hang up. But is that cool? So I can actually interview people now on here. I can call people. They can call me, and we can have conversations over TikTok, and other people can hear it. That's really cool. Yeah, she's stalking me too. Oh boy. So kidney stones, okay, when I went, all right, so I didn't know what it was. I woke up one day and my side hurt and it hurt all day long and I couldn't stand up and
and it was hurting. The thing I'm using, so it's a Zoom. I bought it at Best Buy. So I happened to be walking through Best Buy the other day. I bought one on Amazon, but this is a Zoom something. Zoom Podcast 4. And it's fantastic. It's 4 mic inputs. For what I do, it's perfect because I can use it for my audiovisual business too. So it's kind of nice because I can take some video feeds in, audio feeds, and like I said, even has these 4 little sound effects buttons too. See? Hey, how you doing? Thank you very much. Thank you. No, really, thank you very much. So, of course, I don't want to do the goofy stuff, right? Or but anyway, yes, the podcast 4. It's really cool. It has an SD card in it, so it also records audio. It doesn't do video, but it records audio too. So, you like that, Sergio, huh? So, so that was just kind of cool. But I can make phone calls. I can interview people. So I see that being working for me because I am going to start doing my live podcast on YouTube. And now people can call me up and we can have an interaction. I can ask questions. They can ask questions. I can interview them and have a nice two-way conversation with people. Just like a radio station, talk show, like a talk station, or like I said, a live podcast. Why not? I like talking, but it'd be nice to have a dialogue to talk to other people. I find everybody else is interesting. I like asking questions. Eating too much. Oh, is that what it was? Eating too much ice cream, huh? Hey, Bermuda, you here? Bermuda. We were just talking about Bermuda this morning because I love Bermuda. And we're talking about maybe that could be the next cruise that we go on, go back to Bermuda. Bermuda, not only is it one of the most beautiful places to go, the people there are the nicest. The place is safe. The place is clean. I love it. You go to the Bahamas, you can only go in one little area, right? Everywhere else is all bad, or dangerous, I should say. There's only one place in the Bahamas that's safe to go. So anyway, so that's why, Bermuda is beautiful. Jeff must really like ice cream around the shops. So, it's funny because I don't eat a lot of ice cream. The reason why I like money. If you could make money selling manure, I guess I'd be selling manure, right? Because I like money. So sometimes I feel like I sound like Mr. Wonderful because I don't have his money either. But think about it. He likes money, right? So what happened was when So I've been all over the Bahamas, but I'm just saying there was parts that listen. So let me talk about the Bahamas. I don't want to piss anybody off at the Bahamas, okay? I've been to the Bahamas probably 10 times, okay? And anybody else who's ever been to the Bahamas knows that the first thing they tell you in the ship is stay in the downtown area. Now, that being said, it made me curious. So what did I do? I did what you're not supposed to do. My wife and I took a taxi tour all over the Bahamas, okay? Because I like to see how, the regular, normal townies, I guess you want to call them, the residents live. I like to see the whole thing. Jamaica was the same way, right? They tell you don't go to certain places in Jamaica. So we take the Monte Carlo Casino. So when we go on any trips, we always like to take a taxi tour to see the whole place. To really get to know the place. We like to eat at the local restaurants, not at the showy, touristy restaurants, okay? We like to eat just like the residents do. So don't get me wrong about the Bahamas. We went swimming with the dolphins at the, what's the big hotel in the Bahamas there? The fancy hotel casino at the Bahamas. We went there. In fact, we went to the Bahamas on a Disney cruise at one time, and that's when we went there. Atlantis. So we went to Atlantis. Went to the pool, Atlantis with the wave pool. We swam with the dolphins at Atlantis. I gambled in Atlantis a couple of times when I was there. So Atlantis is beautiful. I went scuba diving. So yeah, Atlantis, that whole area, the island where Atlantis is safe. It's beautiful. It's nice. But I'm talking where the cruise ships dock, you can only go up and down the main street. And was that Carlos and Charlie's? So I will tell you the Carlos and Charlie story. Everybody knows I don't drink. Okay, so I don't drink alcohol. Hardly 1 drink a year. Hardly drink alcohol. But my wife and I were on a honeymoon, and we went to the Bahamas. That was one of the stops on the cruise ship. Right there she is back there. Cameo. So we stopped in the Bahamas, and we went to Carlos and Charlie's, which is right near the pier. And we went to Carlos and Charlie's is a party, tropical party place, you know what I'm saying? Where everyone's drinking, have a good time. There's music playing, this and that.
So we went to Carlos and Charles, and Chris and I having lunch, and we're on a honeymoon. So they were playing Name That Tune for drinks, for shots. And they would go over the bottle, and they hold the bottle up way up above your head and pour the shot down your throat, right? So everyone knows I don't drink, not because I'm against it. I've never found anything I really like, okay? So when I do drink, I drink Di Serrano and ginger ale. Why? Because the ginger ale kind of masks the liquor flavor, right? So, but the problem with Di Serrano and ginger ale is it's so good, I'll drink like 10 in a row, and that's it. I'm all done. So anyway, so we're in the Bahamas. I know I'm telling a long story. We're in the Bahamas at Carlos and Charles. So we're eating, Chris and I. So playing Name That Tune. There's all college kids, all young kids over there playing, yelling, and that, right? Well, what did I used to do for a living? I was a disc jockey, right? So I know a lot of songs, right? So they'd hurry and play something, and I'd yell it out. So the people would come over and they'd give me the shot, right? Then they'd go and they'd play another one, and they'd go and I'd yell it out again. Well, the college kids were getting pissed off, but at the same time, I was getting drunk because I was guessing all the songs and Carlos and Charles. So then I had to stumble my way back to the ship that afternoon with Carissa. So that was kind of fun, Somebody's wasting electricity behind me. Well, you know what's funny about that? So this, in my house, every light is on a motion sensor. So that light will shut off. It's on a motion sensor. So I don't have one light switch in the house. Even the closets, everything's on motion sensor. I had to do that because you're right. Somebody's wasting electricity behind me. So that's the first thing I did before I put the solar panels on the roof. Is I put the motion sensors in all the rooms. So the funny thing is the bathrooms have motion sensors in them, right? Which they last like 5 minutes. But if you're in there doing whatever you do and you don't move, right, what happens? The light goes off. So then you have to wave your hands. The light goes on again. So, so Carlos and Charlie's, so that was funny, we had a good time. So that was just a funny thing because Carissa didn't expect me to do it because she knows I don't drink. And like I said, all these college kids were over there playing Name That Tune, and here I am yelling from across the room, and all of a sudden, who's that guy, how old was I then? Well, we got married, how old am I now? I was 40, so 17 years ago. Yeah, 17 years ago. We were married in 2004, so 18 years ago. So I was 40 at the time. Your favorite number is 69, the year you were born. Okay, all right. I was born in 64, so you're younger than me. You got me beat. I think too much, laugh out loud. Yeah, I guess I do. I think too much. But, that was just a story about Carlos and Charlie's in the Bahamas. Enjoyed the Bahamas. The Bahamas. But so that's why, you see, but again, there's some places in the Bahamas that are not safe. So when we were driving around on the taxi tour, they showed us there were fenced in areas where they actually have fences dividing up the touristy area to the other part of the I'm not making this up. Anybody who's been in the Bahamas, you've seen this if you've taken a bus tour or if you've been, so I'm not making it up. 30-year anniversary next week. Congratulations. I've made Carissa miserable so far for 17 years. So I don't know, so I've made her unhappy for 17 years, That's a Jim Gaffigan joke, when he always says that, So which restaurant, last night or Carlos and Charlie's? Which restaurant you want to know was expensive? Last night's was, it was expensive because the drinks were expensive, and of course that ice cream thing was $100. The sandwiches weren't; they were whatever, $12, $15. But yeah, no, it was just, so the bill, the bill would have been $300, but for the sandwiches and the drinks. But of course we had that $100 thing, How do you value properties? Do you use the 10-time rent roll? I don't use the 10-time rent roll. So when I value a property, first of all, what I will tell you is this, and I am tired of this. A lot of people, I think my son will marry when you did. Yeah. Oh, you know what, Nicole? I think a lot of people are getting married a little later. I mean, so Chris will tell you, if she ever comes on TikTok, we dated for 9 years, which aggravated the shit out of her. So she graduated from law school, and she was ready to get married. But I still was kind of holding her off a little bit. So we dated for 9 years. She finally gave me the ultimatum, marry me or I'm screwing, and you're out the door. Which we didn't live together, but, figure of speech. She was all done with that. You know what I'm saying? Well, the ice cream bowl, it was a dessert for 10, 12 people. So the birthday dessert was $100. So that's what it was. Getting back to how I value property. So one of my pet peeves is this, which if you notice a lot of, when you see something for sale, a multi-unit, go on Zillow, go on, whatever, you go on any of these properties that are, selling property, any of these websites that are selling property, LoopNet. I don't like when they sell on the potential. This is how much you can make if you do this, if you raise the rents, if you fix up. I can't stand that. So I value the property on the actual income. Now, I lose properties because of that, because I'm not going to buy in the potential. I'm not going to say, this is what I'm going to make if I do this. I'm buying it on what it's doing now. How much is coming in now? And then I look at the profit on it now. Good example is I looked at a piece of property about 3 weeks ago. And right now, the property breaks even. Even the people that own it, after their mortgage and everything, it breaks even. Now, they're selling it. They're asking for that property. Trying to think now. They're asking $100,000 per unit. So the problem is that for me to make money on it, or even to break even, I would have to be at $80,000 per unit. They're asking $100,000 per unit, but I have to pay $80,000 a unit, so that way I can do what I need to do with it just now to make money. Their $100,000 is, this is the potential you can make. I don't want to buy it, so I'm going to lose money for 2 years until I fix something, so I can't do it. So to answer your question, I value the money on the realistic income that's happening now and the realistic expenses. I love how they say, well, if you fix up and raise the rents, you can make this money. You divide up the utilities, you can make this money. So they sell it on potential. So that's how I value the property. I look at the income coming in now, the expenses coming in now. I do all the scenarios of how much my mortgage will be and how much I can make. My attitude is what I want to make on a property per month. What I want to take out per month is about 10% in profit per month. Minimum. On that 40 unit, I want to look all the work I'm putting into it. I want to make at least, 10% on that would be $5,000 a month, because when it's all rented, it'll be about $50,000. So that's not a lot of income considering paying $3.5 million for a piece of property, and that's going to be your return. So I bought it based on what it was doing now, though I've raised the rents, fixing it up, increasing it, cutting expenses. But that's not the point. When you buy it, base it on what it's doing now. Protect yourself. Okay, what's it worth now? The real estate agents, they want to get it up and they're telling their seller, you got to market it based on what's the potential. Well, if it was going to be the potential, why didn't they do it? Why didn't they do it if there's that much potential? Because it's all bullshit. That's why. Don't get roped into that. I got one for you. So I made an offer on a property 3 weeks ago, and they were asking. Here's the problem: they were asking a ridiculous amount of money for this property. Okay, the property is worth. There's a good example. It's worth $75,000 per unit. They're asking $100,000 per unit. So that we're off by $25,000 per unit. Okay. By the way, it's 80 units. So they're asking $9 million. Ridiculous. Okay. It's really worth $6.8 million as it stands right now. That's what it's worth. Okay. That's what it was worth. But the real estate agent told him it's worth $9 million. That's what I did the whole TikTok out about a couple weeks ago, because I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get it because the real estate agent ruined it, because she got these sellers believing they're going to get $9 million for this piece of property. It's going to stay on the market for a long time, which is too bad. So that being said, part two of what? I got all my part twos up there, life of views. I feel bad. People are asking me for part two. I don't know what you mean. So anyway, so I'm not going to end up with the property for a couple of reasons. One is that the real estate agent wants to sell it on her own, so the greediness, doesn't want to do a co-broke, wants to get the whole commission herself, 5% of even $7 million, right? It's $350,000. If my real estate agent sells it, now she's only getting $175,000. That sucks, right? So that's part of the problem. So I don't see me getting this property. I made an offer, but I'm not getting the property. And that's what sucks. But the problem is I will only offer what it's worth to me now, what I can make with it now. And I will pass that one up and move on to the next one. They come along, obviously, because I have 380 units. So they do come along. Just that particular one won't work out because the real estate agent snowed these people into thinking that they're going to get $9 million. So obviously they're not going to take 6.8 or 7 when they think they're going to be getting 9. So that's the problem. That's the problem. And that's why I get unhappy with real estate agents, because they're not realistic. if they did comps around the area, they would see I just recently bought properties in that area where I only paid 75, 80 per unit. So why are theirs worth so much more? You know? The problem is this particular agent is from Boston, where obviously the prices are so much higher there. But
Why wouldn't you have looked down here for the values? So I don't know. Then you also get a lot of people. Look, I'm not going to just blame the agent. I'm going to look at the sellers too. There's a lot of sellers out there thinking, oh, I can get top dollar. I'm going to get a Boston agent to come to Rhode Island and sell because they're thinking the Boston prices. Sellers are nuts too. But anyway, Andrew was supposed to call that property and make money on Friday, and I asked him yesterday about it. He was supposed to get back to me. You know, he's a hot shit. I think he did, though. I think he did call on it, and there was an issue. I'll have to ask him on that, because what the story on that was. Because, yeah, that was a nice property. When I looked at it, I liked it. How can you rent with bad credit? With me, I don't do credit checks. So as long as you have income that you can prove, viable income you can prove with me, and you have a good background, I don't do credit checks. Can you smoke in his apartment if you open the window? You could not smoke in any of my apartments, even if you open the window. Because you know what? The smell still lingers there. So if you're asking about my apartments, nope, not at all. You cannot smoke in my apartments. Do people do it? Yeah. And then they pay to have the apartment repainted. Listen, I'm a stickler about that. I cannot stand smoking because it makes a mess in the apartment. But really it's because it bothers other tenants that don't smoke. You can smell it. You know, that's the biggest problem. People want to smoke. You're more than welcome to smoke. It's just because it annoys other tenants, and I get phone calls. If I didn't get phone calls, then the smoking wouldn't bother me. Let's put it that way. You know?
yeah, I don't look at bad credit. I've never looked at bad credit because I've had bad credit my whole life, you know, until a few years ago. So it's not fair to look at bad credit, to judge people on credit because, again, you might be self-employed. If you're self-employed, forget it. Your credit's always going to be shit. That's what my problem was. Till I started saying I was employed and I got a paycheck, then all of a sudden, oh, what a difference, you know? You know, they think the property's worth more because the real estate agent's telling them that. And, of course, then people start seeing dollar signs and believing it, you know? So anyway, I made the offer, right? So they said, well, we're giving till Thursday at 5 o'clock to take the offers. So we had given our offer like a week before. So last Thursday came, right? Well, guess what? How many people gave offers? One. Who? Me. They weren't happy, right? Obviously, they weren't happy with offers. So now they extend the deadline to Sunday, right? So then supposedly they call my real estate agent. Oh, we had other offers. We're going to do highest and best now. We're going to give you till Monday, tomorrow, for highest and best. So my offer stayed the same. I'm not changing my offer. So good question about the vape pen. Listen, same thing. I prefer they don't smoke the vape pen because nothing is supposed to be smoked in the apartment. The thing about the vape pen is they don't smell. They don't. So again, I will never know about it unless somebody complains. If somebody complains, then I would be on top of the vape pen. But if nobody complains, with me, it's all about quiet enjoyment. If you're a good neighbor and you leave your neighbors alone, no matter what you're doing, I could care. It's when you bother the neighbors and I get phone calls and emails and texts, that's when we have a problem. So the vape pen doesn't necessarily bother me, as long as the tenants don't bother me about it. What was that question? Do I rent to pet owners? If yes, no. All right. So pet owners. So you know what? Listen, we rent to cat owners, no problem at all. We rent to dog owners. So here's the issue with that. My insurance company, and it's really about the insurance companies, is very, very strict. So they don't allow dogs more than 35 pounds. They absolutely do not allow Rottweilers or Pit Bulls. It's not me. It's the insurance company. Now, as it is with rental property, my battery's dying on my iPad, so I'm looking for the plug to plug it in. So I don't want you to think I'm, whatever. So here it is. So what happened was I would rent to them. So here's what we do. Under 35 pounds, we rent to. Obviously, somebody has a service animal, then we rent to them as long as they have the papers to prove it. Okay, there we go. Now we're plugged in again. Whew. This is the iPad that I answer my questions on. My eyes are bad, so I have a nice big iPad so I can see the questions, which actually works out good for me for my lives. I kind of like it. But anyway, so what So we allow pets if the insurance company allows them. Okay, that's to answer your question. What we did do was we did designate. So in West Warwick, we have one building where I bought the building, the 7 units. Out of the 7 units, 5 of them were smokers. They're going to smoke. We're not going to stop them from smoking. So the other 2 units we rented to smokers. Okay, though I don't allow smoking, they're smoking in the building. Let that be the smoking building, right? I have another building that had dogs in it. Same thing. I let people that have dogs move into that building. Let them all bark at each other all day long. That way the people can hear all the dogs barking all day. So it goes both ways, right? Listen, I sit here. Now, it's been quiet tonight, but when somebody walks by our house walking a dog, my 2 dogs go crazy, those little runts. They go crazy, barking. So, I mean, think about that in an apartment 24 hours a day when you have 7 dogs living in a building, right? So that's the story with that. So what we do is, so the pet deposit, we don't charge a pet deposit. We charge $25 a month pet deposit. So the longer they're there, we're figuring the longer the wear and tear is on the apartment, the floors, the this and that, if they're peeing, they're scratching, whatever it is. So they just pay $25 a month, and that's how we do it. We do take Section 8 vouchers. No ifs, ands, or buts. All my properties, we take Section 8. Now, with that is this, okay? The only thing they have to do is go pass the background check, because we don't do credit checks. Section 8, we treat just like normal, regular tenants. You have to pass the background check. Can't have any, real bad problems in your past. But yeah, we do accept Section 8. I was talking about, no, you can't reject a service dog anyway. You cannot reject a service dog. As long as the person passes the background check and they're welcomed into the apartment and they have a service dog, then the service dog comes with them. We don't reject the service dog. We do have wheelchair accessible apartments. Yep. Obviously most first floor apartments are wheelchair accessible. And it's interesting. I just bought a property in East Greenwich that actually has a wheelchair ramp, a handicap ramp that one of the tenants there actually got donated to her, through an agency a few years ago before I bought the property. So that's attached to the building. And I actually bought a house that had a handicap ramp that I haven't stored. So if I ever had to add another one somewhere, I can. But we do have, handicapped accessible apartments. And so that's a good question. I've never had anybody come to me with a service dog that is a pit bull, because the insurance company actually absolutely forbids them. But you can't discriminate against people with a service dog. Yeah, I guess lucky for me, I've never had that problem. It's a good question. That's a real good question. That has not come to me yet. Thank God, because I don't know how you would handle that, because the insurance company will say no, but of course by law you can't discriminate. So just like pot, marijuana, you can't. I don't allow smoking of any substance in my buildings. Okay, I have that prerogative as the property owner. I don't allow any smoking, but in Rhode Island, you cannot discriminate against anybody who grows pot. So if you have a medical marijuana card and you grow pot for medicinal purposes, right? You have a little grow in your apartment. You have some lights and this and that. I can't discriminate against you. I have to allow you to grow in the apartment. The issue I have with it, and I was talking about this I think a couple weeks ago. The smell of pot growing is awful. It's bitter. It stinks. It's gross of it growing. Now, I don't smoke pot. Make Money will tell you the last time I smoked pot was December 17th, 2007. Right? No, 1997. When I opened up my club. December 17th, when we opened up Club Hell. See, I got to remember my memory back. When I go to a concert and people smoking pot, that doesn't bother me. I actually kind of like the smell secondhand, right? But growing it, it's awful. So that's the problem I have. I don't let pit bulls are smart dogs. You're right. It's the owners that it's any pets. The owners make them mean, make them. I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that statement. They got a bad rap from bad owners. So so anyways, to make long story short, I don't mind the smell of pot. The bottom line is, again, it's just like cigarettes, though. It may annoy other people. It may aggravate other people. That's why I just can't allow any smoking. They can smoke outside. So they can grow it inside, because legally I can't discriminate against them. They can grow it inside, and they can roll it and go smoke it outside, or put it in their pipe, or do whatever, put it into a brownie. So that's the other thing. They can make edibles, and they can eat all the edibles they want in their apartment and go to town. Go to town. You know. Yeah. See, so the problem is that I know they say owners make pit bulls mean and Rottweilers mean, but the question is because you hear about that when you just the case of this poor 5-year-old who got mauled. How often is the pit bull just deficient or have a problem and does that and loses control? You hear about that. You can do smoking sections. Yeah, so outside, the smoking section for us is outside. It's outside. They can smoke outside. I know a lot of tenants in the winter sit by the window and blow it out the window. It doesn't really work. You know that, and I know that. But they do it. We have other tenants that put the air conditioners and we'll leave them running all the time, thinking that's going to work. Okay, that doesn't work either. In the winter when you have the air conditioning going, I drive by. Oh, I wonder what they're doing in there. Oh, yeah, everyone knows about Michael Vick. That's for sure. Make money. Everyone knows about that story. It's too bad. It's too bad. There's a good example. Yeah, they make the pit bulls are fighting. But you hear about the kids that get attacked by dogs. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. You're done with tenants. So the thing about being a landlord, you have to be a certain type of person where you're done with tenants. I mean, my attitude is if I didn't have management people to manage my properties, I would hire an outside company. There are management firms that you can, if you own investment property, if you want to be an investor and own property, but you don't want to be a landlord, you can hire real estate companies that manage or management properties to manage the property for you. They just send you a check every month. There's nothing wrong with that either. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. You vet the company, find a really good company. They'll rent to good people, and it's their responsibility to take care of your property. And they send you a check every month. So, do you have a favorite kind of wine? I don't because I don't drink. So, like for instance, I never really drank wine. I mean, I've had like going to weddings and had like a glass of red or white wine, but I really don't know anything about wine, so I couldn't answer the question on wine. I'm really ignorant when it comes to alcohol. Listen, I owned a nightclub for 17 years. 17 years. Now, I would go in there, and the bartenders would mix something up for me. See, here's the problem, right? People do like to drink. They like to have a lot of alcohol, right, to get drunk. So I would go in there, and I'd say to the bartender, look, don't put a lot of alcohol in it. I'd rather taste whatever else you're putting in it, right? But they thought, hey, Jeff's the boss. He's the owner. They make me a really strong drink. I wouldn't drink it because I just was never into strong, drinks. Well, like I said, my drink of choice is Di Serrano and ginger ale. I got 2 big bottles of Di Serrano in the amaretto in the other room, and I will drink that. And like I said, so on a cruise ship, right? So whenever we go on cruises, I love cruises, my favorite vacation. Whenever we go on cruises, I always buy the drink package for my wife and I. And so we drink, she loves frozen mudslides, right? So we'll drink mudslides and daiquiris all week long. Well, I drink the amaretto and ginger ale, Di Serrano and ginger ale. Problem is, they're so good that I just drink one, get another one, get another one. I'm drunk from the minute I get on the ship to the minute I leave the ship and I don't drink. I'm not really a drinker. Like last time I had a drink was probably Christmas time, right? Maybe I had a glass of wine then. I don't drink. So that's why it's just funny because the things I do drink, if it's good, I will keep sucking them down, I know. Make money. You should ask him if he's interested in selling his property. Hey, I'll give you a finder's fee. I do that with a lot of my friends, That's a nice piece. That's a nice property where you are. I should ask him, And because I do, when my friends find me properties and if I negotiate and buy it, I throw them a little finder's fee. So you should. That would be really good. That'd be really good. Then I could raise your rent. No, I'm kidding. That could be part of the deal. I don't raise your rent. What kind of restaurant do you want to open besides ice cream? So, it's interesting. There is a restaurant. So I used to own a restaurant for a short time. I talked about this. One of my buildings has a restaurant in it. And it kept going out of business. So I took it over and I ran it and built it up. And then I ended up selling it. It was a breakfast restaurant. But he's 75 from Egypt. So maybe he wants to sell it. Does he live in Egypt? Does he live here? That'd be interesting.
You know, if he lives locally, if he lives in Egypt. You know, so yeah, it's about right for that. But I would have guessed $1,000 a month. How many units in there? 8. Okay, yeah. So the first floor probably pays more. You know.
Yeah, breakfast restaurants make pretty good money. So what happened? Oh, 12. Okay. Yes, that's a good one. I'd love that one.
Nice location. You know, real nice location. My favorite breakfast place is right down the street from there. I was there this morning.
So
I had a breakfast place, so we sold it. Now it's a Thai food restaurant. So what kind of restaurant would I want to own? So my brother lives in Gloucester, Massachusetts. You know, the Gloucester fishermen, Gloucester, Mass, where the perfect storm boats were. So my brother lives there, okay? And he's been very successful. Lives up in a mansion, literally on the water in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And it's beautiful there. It's beautiful in Gloucester. So there's a restaurant there that we go to when we visit him called the Clauseway. And it's not fancy inside, but what it is you go there, you order some spaghetti with clam sauce, you get a giant heaping bowl of spaghetti and clam sauce. You order, steak tips over rice. It's a huge heaping bowl. Everything they give you is a huge. So it's family. What do they call it? It's like comfort food, but a lot of it, comfort food. And that's the type of restaurant that I would want to own. A lot of takeout, and it was family oriented, and yeah, I'll give you a mint chocolate chip cone. Here you go. There it is. So that's the type of restaurant I would own. Just a nice, simple, not a fancy restaurant. There's so many people that want to have the fancy restaurants. There's so many people that want to have, the high end. No, for me, I'd want to have a family oriented restaurant, bigger market. See, I always like to sell to the bigger market. Ice cream, big market, right? When I sell the houses, my house is 3-bedroom, standard 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses. Why? Big market for that. So that's how I like to sell. That's in my thought process. So same thing with a restaurant. I'd want a restaurant that serves the masses, a big market. So that's to answer your question about a restaurant. That being said, I don't think I want to own a restaurant right now because, well, such tough competition in the restaurant business. Such tough competition. And there's so many good restaurants out there. So many good restaurants out there. That's the problem.
Yeah, see that? So that being said, make money. Your landlord must be a good landlord. To have everybody there 5 years or more, he must be a pretty good landlord. He must not give you guys a hard time, must not raise the rent. That's a good thing. See, what's interesting is I look at, that's right, don't waste your money. Oh, what? Why? Why are you saying that now? On your building or on a restaurant? I do want to buy a plumbing business. Absolutely. That's something that, you want to buy one or start one. That is definitely a business that restaurant. Of course, I wouldn't waste my money on a restaurant right now because it's time consuming. There's too much competition. That's what I was getting into. And there's so many good restaurants out there that I wouldn't, it's not an area that I want to even go into, unless you're a chef where you could actually be in control of the quality, then you could own a piece of it. That to me makes sense, right? If you're a chef and you start your own restaurant, that makes sense to me, So my brother software. My brother's into big software company. He made his money in Silicon Valley. Back when they had the big software thing. He owned a couple of big businesses on Route 128 in Boston, and so that's what he does. He's the CEO of software companies. They'll hire him to come in, and he takes over the companies. So they specialize. What they do is he has a team, and what they've done now is they'll get hired, come in, build the business big enough to sell it, and then they move on to another business, and that's what they do. And they build these businesses, and they sell it to larger companies. Your landlord lives upstairs. Why is he going to want to sell his building? Maybe he will, though. You never know. He's 75. He's with his wife, He could stay there. I'd actually rent back to him. So my very first building I bought with the ice cream shop in it, down in Patuxent Village. The people I bought it from lived upstairs, and when I bought it, they stay living upstairs. Yep, for 2 years after I bought it. They were retiring. The building was too much for them to take care of. They sold me the building and the ice cream shop. And she stayed working for me for 8 years. She worked for me for 8 years after because they retired. But so she stayed working with George and Ellen. They're the ones who they opened up Deer Hearts to begin with. George and Ellen Morton started Deer Hearts back in 1982. They started Deer Hearts in 1982, and I bought Deer Hearts in 1998. So they ran it for 16 years, right? And then I bought it from them. And then I expanded it and opened more. So, yeah, but you should ask him anyway, make money. That'd be cool. You never know. You never know. Yeah, so, yeah, family-style portraits. You're exactly right. Buca de Pepo. Yep. How do I do with charity and religion? Well, I'm Catholic. We go to church, once in a while. My son's making his confirmation next week, actually, next Saturday. So that's all I'm there. Charity, if you follow me, I do, my charity of choice is Special Olympics Rhode Island. I have a personal connection with them because they actually helped me establish, they were my very first customer when I started my visual business. And even now they give me great references, we get relationships. So they are my charity of choice that I donate to, but I also donate to Hasbro Children's Hospital. Anything with children is where my charity will go to. You can't pick them all, so those are my two: is children and Special Olympics are my two charities. I don't own any storage units, though. I was tempted to open up some storage units a couple of years ago. That big building, warehouse I owned in Warwick, I was going to convert that to storage units, and I decided not to. I flipped it. That's why I bought it to flip it. So that's what I did there. I bought it and flipped it. So that's why I didn't. So that's what I did there. So self-storage is a way to make money. It's a low. What's nice about self-storage is not a lot of labor. Your labor cost is low, right? The labor cost goes. Your expenses are low. So why not? What are you congratulating me for, Lauren? What did I say that you're congratulating me for? I don't know. But yeah, self-storage is a great investment. So, the closest thing to self-storage I come to is I own probably 30 garages that we rent out. We get $100 a garage, different various locations that I have. Properties I have, the garages, the tenants don't rent the garage, so I rent them out. And so we rent the garages, and there's money in it. I mean, I got like 30 garages. I rent out for $100 each. So yes, there's definitely, there's a lot of staffing issues in the restaurants too. You're right, especially now. But yeah, I don't self-storage raise rent to $220 from $180. Yeah, see, a lot of money in self-storage, that's for sure. But yeah, the less overhead, the better. On any business, the less overhead, the better. Self-storage seems to be growing. I mean, is it because everyone has more and more stuff? Is that what it is? Why are there self-storages popping up everywhere? Is it because people have more? So the garage is coming in because a lot of people rent my garages, put their cars and trucks and boats and stuff like that in. So that's why my garages come in handy to rent. But self-storage units, it just seems like more and more people are renting self-storage units because they keep popping up, So, so a bar is a good, so it's interesting because when I was a kid, when I was young, right, in Rhode Island, the bars were all like local, like in Warwick. I remember this. So there was changed and everything migrated to downtown Providence. Downtown Providence became the Mecca nightclub. Shaboom's, Shaboom's was down there. The Campus Club, the Gallery. Okay, so you had all those places. You had a bunch of big nightclubs in downtown Providence, and all the local ones started going out of it. Challenges moved to downtown, right? So then all of a sudden now, when we owned our club, the club scene started going downhill again, and we saw what happened. They were going back locally to the neighborhoods, right? So maybe because it was, they're cracking down on drunk driving, drinking and driving. Who knows why? Okay, but yeah. So somebody's asking about owning a bar. To me, owning a bar in the right location, the right type of bar, would probably be a good investment. Yeah, you only need one bartender on, location. I mean, I always wanted to put one down in the basement of my ice cream shop where the windows are on the water. Because it's literally right on the bay right there, so that'd be perfect to have a bar right there. That'd be a perfect place for a bar. But again, it's one of those things where you're not going to get rich, but you could make a real nice living. I think have a nice income. So People losing their homes being forced to just downsize, therefore too much junk. Well, that's true. So, it's interesting. So I got to tell you a story. So my wife does family law, does divorce law. So one of the things that can't fit my furniture in here, I'm moving out of a 3,000 square foot house. I can't fit my furniture in here. So, well, I advertise it as a 700 square foot apartment. Why are you calling me then? Do you know how many times that happened to me when I used to show the apartments? I used to get aggravated. I used to come home and complain. That's what Chris would say. And of course, then the wives want to keep the house. That's the other problem. When they get divorced, right, the wives always want to keep, they're emotionally attached to the house, which is a huge mistake. They always get the husband to buy them out. The husband to sell out to the wife or to cover the house. The problem is the wives can't afford the mortgage. They end up losing the house eventually anyway, which is really too bad. But, you can't tell them because they're emotionally attached to it, It's funny because I always say that. So Chris, I always joke with her, if we ever get divorced, you can have the house. You know me, I don't, because I really don't care. I'll go live in one of my apartments. You can have the house. Keep the house. I don't care about the house. So I take the wind out of the argument sale. That's not something I'm going to argue. You take it. So let me take my TikTok stuff and I'll go to an apartment. So, but it's funny because a lot of the wives get emotionally attached and want the house. How many ice cream stores do I own? I own 3.5. Well, I own 3, but I'm opening up another one in a couple weeks, so 4 altogether. At one time, I owned 6. I had 6, sold 2, was down to 4, closed 1, down to 3, opening another one. Now I'm up to 4. So it fluctuates. It's interesting because this new store I'm opening is quite the experiment. I like taking risks. I like experiments. If this store works, I will open 2 more. If this store works right away, I'll try to open up 2 more right away. I have locations and properties I own, and I will do that. Do you want to buy more? Buy more what? Well, I already own the buildings, so for the do I want to look at that, full 100% full for that property. That's nice. 225 units and opened in December 2017. 3 expansions, 400. Wow, that's beautiful. 430 units. That's nice. Where is it? Where's it located? See, I'm not jealous. I'm impressed. That's very nice. Very impressive. Let's see. Yeah, some of the divorces can be very messy, and they are. They're very, very messy, sometimes. And sometimes they go smooth as silk, which is really nice, So for the ice cream stores, I built the first one I bought, but then the other ones I opened up from scratch. That's how I know how to open them up, and it's easy for me to open them up now because I know what you have to go through to open them up. So the one I'm opening up in 2 weeks ago, I had opened up in the same location 18 years ago, though it's been empty now, and I'm opening it back up again. But yeah, no, like I said, if this works out with the Hershey's ice cream, if it works out like I'm optimistic it will work out, and it may not. It might flop, and I'll let you know if it flops. Listen, I'm the first one to say it fucking flopped. But if it works out, then I will open up more, definitely. So Arkansas, wow, okay, all right. Well, that's great. That's fantastic. 430. So I have 380 units. My units are all spread out over 5 cities and towns, all within 10 miles though of me, but they're all spread out. They're not in one location. The biggest units I have is the 40 unit. But anyway, but that's fantastic. So, and I am, like I said, I did make an offer on an 80 unit one a few weeks ago, and which I don't think I'm getting. I made an offer on another 55 units. We'll see what happens. I don't know why I'm so aggressive right now. Why I want to expand, but I do. But yeah, so for the ice cream stores, like I said, I have 3. I'm opening 1 in 2 weeks, and I may open up 2 more if that one works out well. I'll know right away whether that one works, by the way. Oh, storages. Yeah, so storages, storage units, I would love to, own storage units only because, like I said, they're not labor intensive, that's for sure. And it looks like they're low expenses, once you build it or buy it. No, so I have never partnered with other investors on other properties. I have had offers in the past to do it, and I just opted not to. A friend of mine does. So a friend of mine, he actually has a bunch of partners, and they buy properties as a group,
But he worked out well. He actually runs the management company, so he manages the properties. But he has a group of investors. It's just, for me, it didn't work out that way. I started buying before. You know, I owned 60 pieces of property, so I just kept buying. So I never needed the investors. I used private investors to buy the property, but then I end up owning it. I pay them back and I own it. So they're not partners because I use their money as an investment. So that's how I do it. So you own 5. Okay, that's great. That's great. So you know what it's like to have because you have 5 of them. So you must be doing great. So the employees for the ice cream shop. So right now, each ice cream shop only has like 5 employees at it today. In the middle of the summer, I'll have 60 employees. Once we get ramped up, we'll have 20 at each store. To answer your question, we'll have 60 employees. So I have 45. My other businesses, I employ, well, right now I have 46 employees full-time. My other businesses, but they're expanding. I got 2 more people coming on, so we're going to be up to 50 full-time year-round employees. But then the ice cream shops, like I said, during the winter I keep like 6 to keep that one store open. In the summer we ramp right up to 50 employees.
You know, ice cream stores and malls do really well, but, you know, it's interesting. I found this out the other day. So there's a local mall that had an ice cream shop in it, right? The rent there was $3,000 a month. You got to sell some ice cream to pay $3,000 a month for rent, right? In December. But it's in the mall, so people eat ice cream, right? But $3,000, yeah, not for sale. Well, thanks for asking anyway. Thanks for asking. You know, hope he didn't get like insulted and yell at you. Ice cream scoopers make tips. Like I said, you know, I am so impressed with how much the kids that work for me make, you know. I buy my ice cream from 2 different places. In Attleboro, Massachusetts, there's a local dairy called Bliss Brothers Dairy. That's the manufacturer. They were bought out a couple of years ago by a New England company. New England Ice Cream actually bought them. But Bliss Brothers makes my ice cream. But I also sell Hershey's ice cream. I sell in my 3 stores now. I sell 12 flavors of Hershey's. In my new Hershey's store, I'm going to sell all flavors of Hershey's. I think it's 38 flavors. It's just going to just be Hershey's. It's going to be a Hershey's store exclusively. So even the soft serve. So Hershey's makes their own soft serve. It's unbelievable. So even in that store, I'll be selling the Hershey's soft serve. I'm glad he didn't yell at you. The higher interest rates suck. Is it better to take a business loan out or a 30-year fixed mortgage on a single family home to buy? What do you want to use the money for? You know, I've been doing business loans, 20-year business loans against my properties. That's what I've been doing. It all depends what you're going to do with the money. If you're going to be, it all depends what you're going to do with the money. So here's what's interesting this week. There has not been that many auctions. So the whole time I've been on TikTok, before COVID, I was going to 25, 30 auctions a week. In fact, Mike, who works for me, Andrew, we were splitting up. We were all going to auctions. I was going to, they were going, there hasn't been that many auctions. All of a sudden this week, I see 5 auctions on the schedule. So I am going to be going to some auctions this week. So I definitely will get those on TikTok. I'll videotape and throw those on TikTok. I'm excited because I really enjoyed going to the auctions. It's fun. It's fun bidding on the properties, bidding houses. So I put them on my calendar. There's 5 this week between Tuesday and Wednesday. Actually, there's 1 on Friday. And I will go. And so that's going to be fun. So I'll go to these auctions. And you can see me going to the auctions. Because that's something I really have not put on TikTok. But I couldn't because it hasn't been any auctions. Yeah, storage is much better. I know. Oh, so you sell Bliss in 4 of your stores? It is a great product. It's a premium ice cream. It's great ice cream. Before they were sold, the service was better. I'm sure, I don't know how long you've had your stores, how long you've dealt with them. After they sold, there was a little bit of a couple of glitches. They seem to be getting better again. But yeah, Bliss is fantastic. Bliss is fantastic. And where are your stores? Massachusetts, Rhode Island? Where are your stores? But Oh, thank you for loving my videos. I appreciate that. So let me see here. I'm trying to answer this question. Are they multi or single? So what is multi and single? I'm trying to see what question I answered there from Robert. 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 Not sure what to do with the higher interest rates. So what are you trying to buy, Robert? Or sell? Oh, American Free. Thank you very much. My content is great. Well, I appreciate that. Oh, the auctions. So that's a good question. So I do have a couple of properties that I bought at the auction that are multis. I got a great one. In fact, to make money, put a picture of it on TikTok once. It's my haunted house. I have one in Cranston that I bought 4 years ago at the auction. It's a 6-unit house along with a restaurant on the same property, a separate building restaurant. I bought that for $250,000. I don't mind saying it's public record. The restaurant came with a food truck that I turned around immediately and sold for $22,000. And I own the property. I leased out the restaurant. I rent out the 6 units, obviously, and there's 4 garages that I rent out in the back. So that was a multi. There's not a lot of multis at the auction, okay? That was a fluke. It was a great purchase. Best deal I'll ever get in my life. But these auctions this week are all single-family houses. I have bought a couple, like I said, multis, but these 3 this week are going to be all single-family houses that I will buy to fix and flip. That's what these are that I'm going to. Now, even though there's 5 scheduled, I guarantee you, I'll make a bet with you right now, out of those 5, at least 2 will get canceled. Usually what happens is people negotiate with the bank, they'll come up with the money, they'll pay the money, get out of foreclosure, which, that's great that they do. And but then the other 3 might stay. Do I want to buy an ice cream truck? So it's interesting because, all through the years, the 20 years I've had the ice cream shops, I've toyed with buying an ice cream truck. I would buy an ice cream truck, but it would only be to be used for specialty things. I might use it 10 times a year. But yeah, I'd love to buy an ice cream truck, but to use it for certain areas, certain places. Like I have a location now where I could put an ice cream truck. It'd be great. If I had an ice cream truck, I have the perfect location that I could park that truck and it would just be like having a store. It would be just like having an ice cream shop. So yes, I would like to buy an ice cream truck. So if you have one, please, email me. In my bio in my bio is my personal email address. If you have something or you know something, email me because I get the perfect place to put an ice cream truck. And I would do it in a second to answer you. I actually have 2 places, but one definitely. And that would be perfect. Put the ice cream truck right there and just have it there parked all day long and sell ice cream. When I bought the ice cream shop, it did ice cream cakes. Ellen, who started the ice cream shop, she used to make ice cream cakes. Then my mother, when she worked there, she made ice cream cakes. But we kind of got away from that. It was a specialty thing, and we weren't selling that many of them. And so we got away from doing the ice cream cakes. So we don't do ice cream cakes. We probably, when there was a Carvel in Warwick. When it closed, we probably should have gone back to making ice cream cakes because really there's nobody around that does ice cream cakes. So that's where. So make money. So my building in Oakland Beach, my commercial building, I got that big, huge parking lot. I could put an ice cream truck right in that parking lot and have a standalone ice cream store right there. So that's one location. The other location is I have right on Washington Street, Route 117 in Coventry. I have another place where I have a ton of parking spaces, a ton of parking, commercial space where I could park a truck right there. So I have 2 great locations for ice cream trucks. In fact, if there's anybody that knows somebody that wants to park an ice cream truck there and pay me a little bit of rent, I'll give them a deal just to have for the summer, just to have something there because it's a great location. Plenty of parking. People can stop, park, put some picnic tables out. But yeah, Oakland Beach, my property in Oakland Beach is right on the water. Everyone, if you know what Oakland Beach is, it's right in a touristy area in the summer, right on the water. And I own this big piece of property that's empty right now with a parking lot for parking and everything else. So that's where it would be great. So yeah, so that's why it's one of those things where the big thing is this: it's labor right now. Forget the ice cream shop. I still need somebody to run the ice cream truck, right? So it's labor. But yeah, so I have 2 places where I could put ice cream trucks right now and do very well. Or if somebody had ice cream trucks and they want to park in my places, I'll be glad to rent them some space cheap. But anyway, what time is it? I got a couple more minutes and I gotta go. And but that's the story with that. See, all right, you'll do it. Well, we need an ice cream truck. Do you have an ice cream truck? Make money. We need an ice cream truck, and then you're more than welcome to do it. I'll tell you.
the thing about me is, as you can tell, I like helping people make money. I like helping people in business. I get impressed when people start a business, open a business, and make money with their business,
Well, that's exactly right.
Right. So at Oakland Beach, I mean, I could put that ice cream truck right there and sell ice cream all day long. Sell ice cream all day long at that ice cream shop and do very well. So that's the thing. So I just, you can only do so much too, right? I have all these ideas. Like you just saw, I just have 2 business ideas, parked two. By having a truck sit there all summer long, that's like having another store. So these are all ideas I have, but you need the people to do it. You need the people to implement it. I don't want to overwork my staff. My staff has been great. They have been so fantastic. Tim, who's my property manager, who also is the district manager for my ice cream shops, he's kind of doing double duty right now, getting the stores going. My father comes home next week, and he likes to help. So, yeah, Iggy sells ice cream, and he's right across the street, and I don't care. His prices, have you seen his prices? His prices are double what my prices are. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because he's the only game in town. So he's gouging people. So I have no problem. Just like I have, so make money. Here's one for you. So my building in Oakland Beach has a big, beautiful commercial kitchen. I would love somebody to rent my kitchen and sell chowder and clam cakes there. I got a big dining room. I got everything there. They could sell chowder and clam cakes, have takeout windows. So think about it. I mean, competition is good, right? Iggy's opened up right next door to Aunt Carrie's down in Narragansett. Aunt Carrie's was there first, and Iggy's opened up right next door. So, what's good for the goose is good for the butler. Anyway, so that's the story with that. But yeah, so in Coventry, I got the place at 117, which 117 is a busy road in Coventry, and there's a lot of residential there. And then, like I said, Oakland Beach, I got that big, empty, beautiful parking lot that, I really should have probably, thinking about it, during the winter, looked for a truck to put there and think of it. I have one I could use, but I have to fix it all, but it's too much work. And just like I said, my guys are so busy right now, I don't have time to give them more stuff. Anyway, so I'm going to get going. I want to remind everybody, dough and clam. Oh.
So make money.
You're right. Now, here's what I'm going to do to make money, because you've been my moderator. You've been great. This summer, when I make my clam cakes, you are invited over to my house for my famous clam cakes that really have clams in them. My wife makes the recipe and mixes them up, but I make the clam cakes in the fryer later outside. And I will not eat a clam cake anywhere else. Why? Because I know they don't have clams in them like mine do. My wife makes a great recipe, and I make great clam cakes. We love entertaining in the summer. That's why I built the outdoor kitchen with the fryer later, and we put the pool. We love having fun. Yeah, we love. I'm serious too. Make money. We love entertaining. That's why we built a really nice space in the backyard to entertain, and because we have big parties all summer long. My employee parties are here. We have friends over. We really enjoy it. That's why we like our house. That's why in the summer we try not to travel. It's beautiful weather. Where are you going to go in the summer? You're going to leave nice weather to go to nice weather? Stupid. So I stay right here and enjoy our yard. So that's the story with that. I want to remind everybody. First of all, tonight we got 6,000, 7,000 likes, 6,000 likes. That's fantastic. I want to thank everybody for following me, for liking me, watching me on my lives, asking me the questions. I really do. If you have any questions that I missed, you can send them to me in my TikToks, attach my TikToks, or send them to my Q&A, and I will answer them. I save them as screenshots, and I go through and I answer them. I'll do TikToks. Well, that's exactly why I travel when I have everything in the backyard. That's why we put the pool in. Even our slide, we didn't put a kiddie slide in. I put an adult slide in when we put the slide in for the pool. And of course, then we have the outdoor cabana, and I put the hot tub out there. I've shown that on TikTok. So we made it nice, so it's comfortable, So,
it's funny.
I think it would be cool if they had like a local Shark Tank, right? With small business in Rhode Island, you get a few businessmen and do like a local, like cable TV or whatever Shark Tank, But obviously you have to be like a gazillionaire to be on Shark Tank. I'm not a gazillionaire, so. But look at the businesses they own. They have staffs. Every single one. I've done a little research on it. Every single one. Mark Cuban, Kevin O'Leary. They all have staffs. Laurie Grenier. They have staffs that manage all these little businesses they buy. So, it looks like they go and they run it. They don't. They have all staffs. But obviously they take an interest in it. They help market it. They do a great job. So Yeah, I love Shark Tank, obviously. But yeah, so that's how they do it. That's how they own all these little pieces of all these little businesses, you know. And I would do that. You know, it's interesting because if somebody had a business they were starting and they wanted an investment, I'd look at it as an investment, just like they do. Why not? You know, yeah, Butler O'Leary, I know, right? Butler O'Leary. Yeah, so funny. But anyway, yes. So I'm serious. This summer, you're gonna try my clam cakes. They're the best you ever had. So we have our employee party every year at my house. So I do it, and it's grown every year, obviously, because we have more and more employees. But we have the room for the people. It's a family outing day. We get a big water slide, you know, the giant inflatable water slide, and we do all you can eat lobster. It's a lobster fest. All you can eat lobster. But the people don't eat lobster. We get them steaks, and we do deep fried turkeys, which we do. Yeah, I should dress up as a lobster on Halloween or a shark. But anyway, so listen, I want to thank everybody for watching me tonight, joining me on my live. Like I said, oh, and by the way, if you ever want to come on and ask me questions, like I said, dial in on the phone, let me know. And the next time I do my live, we'll do that. I'll take the actual live phone call so we can talk on the phone and people can hear us, you know, hear you ask me questions and I'll answer the questions. And you can take me by, I'll dress up as Kevin O'Leary. Yeah. You know, do you ever see him on TikTok? He doesn't wear pants. I don't understand what that's all about, Kevin O'Leary on TikTok. So I follow him on TikTok, right? And all his TikToks, he never has pants on. I don't understand what that's all about. He has a shirt and a tie on, but then they do a wide shot and he's wearing his underwear and shorts and stuff. He's kind of a character, you know, kind of a character. But anyway, so I'm going to get going, but I want to, you have a question, let me know. If you want to ask me a question next time, you want to send me an email, You want to send me your number or I'll give you my number and you can call me next time. I want to do a live probably Wednesday night. Wednesdays seem to be a good night for lives. And we could have a conversation and talk, you know. What is the biggest thing that you've learned over the last 20 years? Oh, that's a good question. You know, to me, the biggest thing I've learned, be nicer to the people that can help you make money. I don't know. That's a joke, but it's really, when you think about it, it's true. The biggest thing I learned was to reinvest. So take the money I make, don't blow it, don't spend it somewhere crazy, reinvest it, put it back in. You know, that's why people say, how come you don't live in a mansion? How come you live? You know, I could. So you know what? I said that to my wife the other day. So I own that nursing home, right, that we're about to renovate in Warwick. So I own the nursing home. I've had an offer, $2.5 million. I could sell that for $2.5 million right now. What could I buy with that? I could buy a big house, right? A big giant house, $2.5 million. Huge house. Then what comes with it? Huge taxes, huge expenses, huge upkeep. And you have to make it your own. I am very pleased where I am right now. Very comfortable. I have 3 studios in my house. That's how big this house is. I got this studio I'm on right now. I got the one downstairs, the big giant video studio, and I got the one out in the sunroom. So you know what? I got plenty of room. Okay. But it's true though. It's interesting because, you know, people take yeah, the COVID's been a big deal. Well, the nursing home I have is out of business. It's a vacant 36,000 square foot nursing home that went out of business before COVID. I'm converting it to 50 apartments someday. That's where COVID's been a big deal because COVID has delayed that whole project immensely, a year and a half. But anyway, so that's why I'm happy where I'm at. I'm not going to blow that money. Why would I do that? You know what I'm saying? But I could. You know, people make choices, right? So that's the thing. That's why I don't do that. I'm happy with what I do with my money, and I reinvest it back into the real estate. That's what I do with my money. So anyway, all right. Well, thanks again, Make Money. Thanks for moderating tonight. I have done a 1031 exchange, and and of course, if I buy this property, if they accept my offer, then I'll do a 1031 exchange to buy that property. But yeah, my lawyers handled that for me because I still don't understand how it works, you know. But yeah, my lawyer handled that for me. And moving forward, if I buy this other property and sell one, then my lawyer will handle that for me. But anyway, so Wednesday I'll be live again. If you have any questions, send them to me. I'll talk about them in my live. I got all kinds of updates to give you this week on the Warwick thing. That's a whole nother story, the Warwick building thing. There's a lot of information I haven't even shared on that, which I can't because of legal reasons. So that's why when people say, oh, you have no grounds, trust me, I have grounds. I wouldn't be saying it if I didn't, okay? There is, it's going to be interesting this week. There's going to be some very interesting TikToks coming your way this week regarding that, because there's some meetings that are taking place. And hey, look, we know they're all watching me tonight. They're all watching me tonight, and let them run scared. I will tell you this. So I'm going to leave you with this for the people that are watching. They can go to work and tell their coworkers tomorrow in Warwick. I hold the building inspector responsible for what he did to me as far as his slander. I'll use that word, slander, his abuse, his harassment. But his workers, his minions, who he instructed to also do that to me, I hold them responsible. If he sent me a certified letter, and in that letter he did anything illegal and violated my rights, the person who put the stamp in that letter, he or she is responsible too. If he sent me a certified letter, the person that sent that out, he or she is responsible too. Because they knew what was going on, and they had the chance to stop it. They had the chance to say, nope, I'm not. I'm an independent person. I'm a free thinker. I'm not a follower. I'm not a minion. If they chose not to do that, they chose to be part of the problem, not part of the solution. So I hold them responsible too. So that's why when people ask me, am I suing? Yeah. And that's why I'm going to look at anybody and everybody at this point that I can sue. I'm not being bitter. I'm not mad. As you can see, I'm still moving forward. I'm living my life. I'm buying property. I'm enjoying myself on TikTok. I'm not letting them bother me. I'm disappointed about what's been going on. It's coming to a head now, but I'm not going to let it ruin my life. I got plenty of things to go and do. Now, a lot of people say, yeah, well, they're jealous. He's jealous. So here's the problem with that. I don't know if it's jealousy or burnout or bitterness. Think about this. These people are in an office handing out building permits to people where most of those people make more money than they do. So is it bitter? Is it jealousy? Envious? I don't know what you call it. But every day they're giving out permits to richer people that make a lot more money than they do. Maybe that affects them. I don't know. It doesn't affect me. I deal with people every day that have a lot more money than me. And I say, hey, how'd you get there? I'd like to learn from you. That's my position on it. That's how I look at people that are doing much better than me. How can you teach me? How can I learn from you? Jealousy and envy is such a bad trait to have. It's such a energy waster. It's a negative trait. I suggest people, if you have it, get it out of your mind. Read a book on how to get it out of your mind. Watch a YouTube video. You don't want to be jealous. You don't want to be envious. You want to learn from those people. And that's what I do. You can't. Jealousy is awful. You can't be jealous. You've got to look at that. Okay, now, obviously, the few people that won the lottery, all right, you really can't learn from them except, okay, what numbers they pick, right? I'm talking about people that started the business. So that's what I do. I look at people. What did they do? How did they do it? How did they get there? Were they out? So for me, one of the traits that I have that's really good is I can talk, right? I can communicate with people, right? That's one of my traits that I have. When I was in foreclosure 12 years ago during the banking crisis, I was able to call the banks and talk to the banks. I was able to eat crow, whatever you want to call it, and talk to the banks and negotiate with them and work it out with them. And that saved me. So that was a trait that I had. So if you can be a talker, if you can communicate with people, that's a great thing. If you can't, then that's very difficult. But it's something you can probably learn how to do. It takes practice, Don't be afraid to ask a question. Don't be afraid to ask, for instance, when you're buying a house, will you hold the paper for me? Will you be if they're selling the house, will you hold the paper? I ask every time. Maybe 1 out of 30 times they'll say yes, or 1 out of 20 times they'll say yes. But they'll never say yes if you don't ask. So you have to ask the question. It's a negotiation. Anyway, I'm going to get going. But again, thank you very much for watching me tonight. It's been a really good live again. I appreciate it. And I will talk to everybody Wednesday and throughout the week. Thanks.